Gotta get my
It's cool. I got
stopwatch going
crackle.
too. All right, you guys ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, welcome back to the 2-4 Down podcast. I am your host, Hat, and we got a little bit of a full house here tonight. We got two co-hosts on, so let me introduce the first co-host, Andrew. Andrew, how's it going, man?
Good. How you guys?
Pretty good, pretty good. Our second co-host, and this is our brand new admin of the 24 Down podcast, Wolfie. How are you, Wolfie?
Hi, you good, man?
I actually wanted to read a comment that somebody posted on you being announced as a new admin. They said, "Well, gee, they'll give an admin role to just about anybody, huh?" No, just kidding.
I was like,
I mean, it's true, but yeah, sure.
No, so before we get into the guest, I do want to welcome you aboard the admin team and just say again, I've said this a little bit online and in some of the chats like that. Like since your episode, I feel like the group has grown. I feel like there's been more exposure. You've been really wanting to be involved in stuff like that. So I know I appreciate that. All the guys appreciate that as well. And so we're really glad to have you aboard. So
Likewise. Thank you.
and then so now on to the main course here. Our guest. This is a highly requested episode here. We've got the quote unquote one and only Tom Rizzo. Tom, how you doing, man?
I am excellent at and Wolfie and Andrew. It's great to see all your faces.
Yeah, I mean, there's I'm not just saying that lightly. There's been quite a few people asking, like, when's the Rizzo episode? When's the Rizzo episode? And I'm sure we could all and maybe we will do this. We'll do this really quick. We're going to change it up a little bit. If you guys, Wolfie and Andrew, want to say like a quick, 10, 15 second, whatever summary on Tom. To me, the reason I think there's so much of a desire to hear a Tom Rizzo episode is because Tom, I know you're not the kind of guy that likes to be praised or anything like that, but too bad. Tom's the kind of guy that literally everybody feels like they have a best friendship with him because he's just so welcoming and such open and accepting and everything like that. So I'm really pumped for this episode. Andrew, Wolfie, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I know Rizzo was one of the first people to reach out to me to get me hooked on this. But, just thinking, I mean, I think he was asking me, about doing one, and I was like, well, when are you doing yours? Because that's what I'm more excited for. And, just think about college. I think there's Rizzo, you're the type of guy that, your affection, your love for people, if I tried it, it would come across creepy. But people you have such a good heart, man. And I think that's why so many people love you and are excited for you being on this podcast.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no, I think what Hat said is true. I kind of feel that too. I'm like, man, you were one of my closest friends at college. We've been lucky enough to see each other a couple times after college. Our kids got to play together. We got to come up to Buffalo and see your wife, and yeah, it was just awesome. So I think they nailed it. I was always excited to when, Rizzo was around, everybody was everyone was more hype. Everyone was more excited. Just because you're you always just made everyone feel good, feel accepted. And so yeah, I'm just super honored to be on here to co-host with you, but then, be able to call your friend too is, for sure it means something special.
Appreciate it, dudes. Well, I mean, then I'll give respect to one of the only other Tom Rizzos, my dad. Both my parents were I don't know what it they just taught that accepting nature and just loving no matter what. And which is funny hearing this because I feel like I'm a complete cynical, sarcastic tool, but I'm obviously you guys know my heart, but it's just I don't know. We're all just freaking flesh and bones. There's no reason to hold anything against people or think you're cooler or think you're cornier. We're all the same. So I'm glad that I had the effect. And I feel like that's what's cool about our group of friends in itself too. It's we all have these separate bonds with each other, like the bonds that Hat and Juge and had, and me and Andrew, and then me and Wolf. it's all in like separate, but also in the same vein too. And it's real cool seeing that. So I'm glad that we can all hang.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, before I just wanted to add on to that again, just really, really quick. You brought up your dad, and I mean, you're spot on. Like I very vividly remember the first time meeting your dad in Buffalo, and I mean, like he treated all of us as if we were his own sons too, and like that's like within like a minute of meeting the guy, you know. Um, so yeah, you know, I definitely see that you got that from him, and one of the funniest guys I've ever met too, for sure, hands down. Like your dad's hilarious. So
He is, dude. He's a funny guy.
Yeah, and your mom gives the best hugs. She's like a mom for everybody. She's awesome.
She is.
You have a great
She's
family.
wild.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude. And so do you, like, for all the parents and stuff that I met, like I think that's played a big part. Like you could see its influence, and even from families, people that don't have like full like nuclear families, like you could just tell who influenced them on their lives and who made a difference, and it's cool seeing that.
yeah, for sure. Well, speaking of like families and why you are the way you are and that type of a thing, let's just dive right into it like we always do and give us a recap of what your life has been post Valley Forge, post 24 Down, leading up until now.
Cool. I'm gonna have to look at notes because I can't do stuff off the top of my head, but I'll build off of the notes. All right, so leaving Valley Forge, I don't know year. Well, actually, before I talk about anything, full disclosure, I think podcasts are so dumb. Like there's so many podcasts, and like there's like a podcast of gray pots, and then like a podcast of like grandmas who rap, and like there's just it's very watered down. So I just want to say that as against them as I am, this one it gets my full approval, and I'm glad to be a part of it. And Hat, you're killing it, and everybody who's a part of it is killing it, and it's great to speak onto it as well. But after Valley Forge, I don't remember years. I'll never remember the dates of this. I don't even remember what year I got there, but I'll just talk about it. I think I was there for 2 years. Left because I was reading about, I always had intentions of going back to Buffalo. I was reading about teaching positions just being laid off like crazy. I was going to Valley Forge for secondary education. And like, while I'm at Valley Forge, I learned that I like wanted to like be cool with kids, but I also was not organized enough to be a teacher after taking the classes. Like I'll build the bond with the kids, but like organizing a planner and schooling these kids on how to be educated was not something that I would be good at. And then at that point I was just like, I'm like dropping 20K a year for something that I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to transfer back to Buff State, which is what they're called SUNY colleges. And it's a state college, Buff State College, and transfer my credits and just go get like a general degree or like just a general bachelor's. I go to transfer, and I had 80 credits leaving Valley Forge, and 40 of them transferred to that school. And at that point, I was just like, all right, I'll try it. Like, it sucks that I can't make up for it. I probably could have put more effort into like seeing if certain courses can be brought to other schools, but other schools are expensive too. And I was already like, whatever you like, we're like 18, 20 years old, signing these loans with 9.2% interest, and like I'm just like, oh, they're paying for my school, like not knowing that I'm getting shat on like later on, and it's just accruing and taking all this debt. So I tried to transfer. I'd go to a couple classes at Buff State, wasn't feeling it. Go to a couple classes at this other community college, ECC. I'm like, well, let me at least try and get an associate. So I got like something, and I like just wasn't feeling it. Education wasn't right. So I just stopped school, started working some off jobs. Let me see what jobs are out. I was working at a cancer hospital in Buffalo. It's really big. It's called Roswell Park. But I was working for the research and development part of it, where I was just working part-time. Basically, my job was we would get a bank of random phone numbers, landline phone numbers. I would call these random phone numbers and be like, hey, we're doing a study on tobacco control. We'll pay you $35 if you answer these questions. And it was just that. And it was cool. Like, but it was like obviously a nowhere job, especially with like lack of education. And at that age, I was still like, what am I supposed to be doing? I don't know anything like that. So I was doing that. I was working at Jim's Steakout, making hoagies and finger subs. I know got some fans of it here, and whoever hasn't been to Buffalo, next time they come, we will eat it for sure. So I was doing that, and then all the while I kind of reconnected with my friends back at home. My friends Rex and Big Dan, went to the same high school with them, but also they lived somewhat close to me. So we would make music, we would hang out, we would go to these train tracks by us and like smoke blunts, and I would beatbox and freestyle and stuff. And like music started to kind of pick up there. And then we started a band called Purgatory Kings, and we played over instruments, we did rap stuff, we did a bunch of other things, and we ended up renting a practice space downtown Buffalo. And the practice space was like, it was like the heart of it. Like that's where like my core group of friends really like developed, and it was my life. Like I would work these jobs and I would go there, and we would just we would practice, we'd write new songs, we would like talk to all these other bands. There was like, and the place is still around. There was like, probably still are like 40 to 50 bands in this building, just all like on different floors and stuff and practicing. So we would hang out there. We made a couple albums. We would do albums at up in his attic and stuff. And we knew each other in high school, and that's when Purgatory King started. But this was when we like were actually doing shows and hanging out, and make it like, instead of like making music up in a friend's attic on a huge desktop, we were like, oh, we like know band members, and we like started playing all these shows and stuff. And while we were there, the building, it's called the Theater District downtown. There's a whole bunch of theaters for plays and stuff, and the building that we were in was next door to this one theater. And in the second floor of the building, one night we were just like high roaming around, and we're like walking this door, and we discovered this like vault, and we learned that it used to be a fur vault. And then in it was all these props from the play, from the arena next door, and like all this stuff. And we're like, man, like what is all this cool stuff, old like jackets and all this stuff. And we talked to the owner, and we talked to the person who rented it out, and we were like, what's up with this space? Like what do you do with it? And he's like, it's just nothing, it's holding. So we ended up cleaning it out, and we turned it into a venue pretty much. We like did all our own sound, did all our own stuff. And we would throw parties. Like we threw a party, like I wrote the names of the parties because that was funny remembering them. We threw one in the summer one called Heat Wave. We threw one on New Year's called Fresh Start. We threw a Halloween masquerade one. And it was like, there was like 300 people at these parties. And like we were like, man, like we should be doing this stuff. Like we're like, we could throw parties and events and stuff like that. And eventually it kind of phased out as like more bands came. But that was big. And then me and my buddy Pat, we made 25 Metro in that same practice space, recorded that album. During that time, I started to hang with my now wife Rachel. I guess she stalked me. Like I've known her since we were kids, and I guess she stalked me when we were kids, and I was oblivious doofus and didn't notice any of this stuff. But she would start coming to like the shows, the Purgatory King show. She would come to she came to the practice space, and we started hanging out. We started dating, and that was like 2009, I think it was, when we started dating. And from then we obviously hit it off. We have a really crazy connection. She's the best thing in my life next to my son. But she was around, so supportive. She did the artwork for 25 Metro. She came and shot the photos and did all the editing for the artwork and all that. So we were starting dating and just hung out. And then from there, the same like blue collar, I jumped from jobs to jobs. I worked at Geico for 3 years, and I hated that place because it was very much like a stunk like corporate America, and it was just this hierarchy, and I was just a peasant. And anytime you wanted to excel in something, they would find something else that you weren't good at and hold it back, and there was cliques and all this stuff. I didn't last long. Well, that's 3 years, so I guess it's a little long, but it wasn't feeling it. It wasn't trying to be a friggin' insurance agent for the rest of my life. And then I ended up working at the post office after that. the post office was a chill job, but they hire new employees. There's something called PSE, and it is a part-time employee. They pay you part-time wages, but they can work you however much they want. So I would be working 7 days a week, first of all, because they did the contract with Amazon. So I had to sort mail on Sunday. So it was 7 days a week, 10 hours, 12-hour shifts every single day. I think I had a patch where I hit 55 days in a row without a day off, and they could do it because they were like, oh, well, it's federal. So like we make our own rules with this and stuff like that. And the union didn't do anything for me because I wasn't a full-time employee. And I was just like dead. Like I would be at like one post office at 5 a.m. till 1 p.m. Then from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. be at another post office, and 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. be at another one. And I was just like Rachel was like you're a friggin' mess. Like we got married in 2014, and that was like I was in the midst of that, working that job. We bought our house in 2013 and moved in. We still lived with our parents, but we moved in 20, like when we got married. Or actually our mattress was delivered on our wedding day. They delivered the mattress to us that day, so that was nice. But then then I've been married since, and Rachel got into a car accident in 2015, which really set us back because she's nice with doing hair, and she was working at a salon, and she was killing it. And then after her accident, fortunately, like obviously nothing super serious, but a lot of like muscle and injuries that you can't see on the surface, but like jacked her up. She couldn't do hair work anymore, and then we had to like reset and find out hanging. And then I got a job at the NFTA, which is the transit, like the bus. I do clerical work for like people who issue tickets on the train or the police and stuff like that. It's very simple, straightforward, don't take your work home, 9 to 5 job. It's awesome. I do my work, my boss is chill. And we had our son in 2017, 11, 16, 17 is his birth. And he's the coolest kid in the entire world. He's everything that the best things of Rachel and the best things of me. I like seeing him, and he's my best friend, and I'm obsessed with him, and we just been hanging. I was late to get this podcast now because we just doing some work in our house. The contractors like just did a new bathroom. We're just doing all this new painting and stuff. We're like, we should make this home our home, and that's what we've been doing. And other than that, hanging out with the kid and making music on the side and hanging out and listening to these podcasts. So nice. That was the longest I've ever talked, I think.
It's like, well, it was
about yourself, good.
Right?
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like a few things that I want to touch on from things that you said, and I'm sure Wolfie and Andrew have things too. But right off the top of my head, and this is something you talked very recently about near the end of your catch up. Like I wanted to talk about your wife. So I think the first time I met her was at Andrew's wedding. I believe that's the first time I met her.
That makes sense.
And I remember instantly, like, here's this girl that like doesn't know any of us. And that was like, we were still like kind of in our 24 down prime, you know? Mm-hmm. So we were still idiots. Not that we're not now today too, but like, you know, like no offense to us or anybody that, you know, I'm talking about, but like we're a lot to handle, like, quite frankly, to like a complete stranger, you know?
For sure.
And here she comes in, and not only does she like accept everybody for who they are, but like just gets right in the thick of things too. I remember like, and maybe she, who knows, like maybe she wasn't as comfortable as she felt, but like, if not, like she played it off well. And I remember like going to Buffalo for your guys' wedding. And like, at the time I didn't know this, but now like being married and going through like a wedding and stuff like that, like that's like it's a very stressful day, and your mind is just a million different places. And you and her both like several times, like just very open, at least to me personally, like I can't speak for everybody else, but I'm sure it was the same way. I I remember there was another time that I was hanging out in Niagara Falls area, Canada. And this is a few years after you guys got married, and I was like, yeah, I'm definitely stopping in Buffalo, you know. And I came over and like hung out with you guys for a while. Same thing, like she was just very um, hospitable. You know, I could speak for my wife. Like when my wife met her, when you guys came to my wedding, I mean, my wife like loves Rachel. Like she was like, oh, and so I say all that to say that like you could not have found a more perfect fit for you. Like you guys complement each other so well. Your personalities complement each other so well. Your energy, your fun, like everything about it is just, I mean, you guys literally like are definitely meant for each other. And then the fact that you had a kid together, like I can only imagine like what he's like now and what he's going to be like growing up. Like he's got coolest parents ever. Like, so, I'll let the other guys touch on whatever else they want to touch on, but I for sure wanted to bring that up because I know like, I was just super impressed with like how much like she instantly loved everybody without really even knowing us before
And
really knowing us.
she speaks on that. Like, I feel like I've been blessed throughout my whole life with friends that I've had, but especially in the case of 24 Down, she was like, just the first time like meeting people, she's like, yo, your friends are the coolest, most comfortable people ever. Like it's just such a smooth transition. And she's got like two best friends. She didn't dorm in college. She kind of moved around when she was younger, so she didn't have that like set of friends like that. And I was just like, she was just blown away by it. Like, so yeah, she's incredible and amazing, but it's like, I think our crew definitely makes that easy for newcomers and stuff. And just same thing with your wedding. Like she was so pumped at your wedding. She's like, I love Jerica. She's like, this was such a fun time. Like I had like, she's mad chill. She was like in sweats at the bar the night before the wedding. She's like, I feel connection with this girl. I was like, yes. I was like,
So I don't know, not many people other than the people that were at the wedding probably know the story, but my wife had a very special interaction with Tom and Rachel the night of the wedding, and I don't think she'll mind me telling this story. She doesn't listen anyway, so it's not like whatever. As long as you guys don't tell her I told the story. But so the night of the wedding, you know, everything happens, whatever. We're at the reception doing our thing, whatever. The night kind of winds down, and I had a hotel block for the wedding, so you know everybody out of town and some people even in town that didn't want to drive home stay at this hotel that one night. So I sent her back to the hotel because she was, I mean, she was doing her thing. She was long day, whatever. I knew she was tired. She wanted to get some rest. So she'd been drinking and everything like that. I still had some things to do and like cleaning up and stuff like that. So I sent her back. And so because she was drinking, she got to a point where like she just, whatever. And so I don't know if they took an Uber or a friend's car or something like that, and they get to the hotel and Tom and Rachel are sitting outside. And they're like, "Oh, hey." And my wife like not even realizing it's them, just like kind of like in her drunk, like just like looks at him and was like, "Fuck you," and then like walks inside. And like you guys told me, like you messaged me immediately, Tom. You're like, "Oh, blah blah blah." And the fact that like neither one of you took offense by it and you knew that like, okay, she doesn't actually mean this or whatever, like that meant a lot to me. And I know like it's something like you guys thought was funny. The next day, like we told her what happened and she was embarrassed at first, but then like she was like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever, like she doesn't care. But
yeah,
I just thought that was a funny story I'd share.
it was very funny. It was just like, that was the definition of like comic timing, of just like,
It's hilarious.
of course you didn't, like, not only just being buzzed, but like we're just random people sitting in this field. Like,
Right.
That was great. I forgot about that.
I think somebody from our group would have to marry like the Antichrist for us not to like accept them and love them. Like they literally would just have to be like the worst person for us not like, because we're all like dumb and have screwed up, and to think like, yeah, we're gonna accept anybody. Like if you're good enough for one of our family, then you're good enough for all of our family.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Yeah, I haven't met Rachel, but just knowing Tom, like I know she's a good person. I kind of picture you guys just as like a young Mr. and Mrs. Claus. Santa and his wife.
I'll take
Just
it.
a little less south, but still north of here.
Yeah.
No, Tom, I was gonna say that I feel the same way about Rachel. I remember at Nancy's and my wedding, when you guys got there, you like introduced us to her, and she was instantly. It was like I knew her since college, this kind of the same way. I mean, she was just hugging everybody. She was part of the group. She had she was taking pictures. She wanted to do photography. I know she's so artistic, and she was taking pictures of us. And when we went out, we were playing soccer for my bachelor party. She was there and she was just taking pictures and just capturing all those candid, fun moments and stuff. So, when we came to visit, you guys gave us your whole house. I mean, basically, like they went and stayed at her parents' house so we could stay at their house. So, like, they gave us their whole house. I'm just like, these people are awesome. Like, so you guys are the best. I mean, you guys are awesome. I really appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, Rachel's just such a sweetheart.
Yeah, she's awesome, man. I'm very blessed, and and you said we definitely complement each other well. It's very much like she's like high energy and like nervous all the time, and I'm like, it's cool. We're gonna be all right. Like it's a good balance. So it's we're lucky.
Yeah, that's awesome. You guys got anything else you want to talk about with Tom's catch up? I know, Tom, you talked about a lot of the jobs that you had in between, and a lot of stuff you did with the music. And I know there's some questions coming up with the music, but what's interesting to me is when you bring up the 25 Metro thing and the Purgatory Kings thing. Like, to be completely honest, like up until you said Purgatory Kings tonight on this episode, I completely forgot about that. Like I just, you and 25 Metro always, like, that's what I remember. But my memory is so shot that, like, for some reason I was thinking 25 Metro even existed in college.
I thought it did too.
It did. Like,
okay.
So I'm trying to think of when I think we were making stuff, but we didn't put it out until 2010, I think it was. So
Okay.
songs were being made, but we didn't like do anything with it or put the album together until later. But like, yeah, like, cause my buddy Pat, the other half of 25 Metro, is like, he was the first person I talked to in high school. Like, he noticed I had like friggin' Osiris skate sneakers on, and he skated and was like, yo, do you skate? And I was like, no, I'm a poser. Like I tried to, but like, and we hit it off since then. And but yeah, we were a thing, but it wasn't like, didn't come to fruition until after college.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, that makes sense. It was interesting to me because, like, in my mind, like 25 Metro was like, the whole time I've known you, I've known 25 Metro, and maybe that wasn't the case, but like, I think part of that has to do with the fact of like how musical you were during college and the time that we got to know you and everything like that.
Sure.
And so I mean, you cannot think of Tom Rizzo without thinking of music, like, just flat out, like, you just can't.
I don't know. I wish I would have, like, in hindsight, I wish I would have, like, I was so like rap and freestyle and beatbox and stuff. I wish I would have, like, I'm a geek about music now, of like reading record liners and seeing who's playing drums out. Like, I wish I would have like done that now, but I guess it all builds into it later in life.
For sure.
Yeah, I thought, kind of like tagging along, like where Hat started with this, like, listening to you talk about like the jobs that you've had, and even like you went to Valley Forge to study, education, and I think back and I feel like it's a common theme through some of us too, and something I've always kind of talked with people through work and outside of work too, is like, we have our passions, but like your passion doesn't have to be your paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
And so like for you, like finding a job that you can, it might not be the most fulfilling thing. It might not be something that like, changes the world in a drastic measure, but like it is, because it's supporting you, it's supporting your family, and it's supporting you to be able to keep doing your passion too outside of work.
It's true. It's like, I mean, like, how rare is it that, any of us or people in general are finding like they're like, that's why the whole like narrative of like anybody can make it and you can do whatever you want. I'm like, nah, you gotta get the shit kicked out of you for a little bit before you come anywhere close to what you want to do.
Right.
Yeah, I love the thinking about you and music because like I'm able to throw out random names to people when I meet someone that's like, "Oh, I listen to underground rap." I'm able to like throw out names and they're like, "How do you know them?" And it's only because of you. It's not I don't know any of these people, but it's because you introduced us. I mean, really all of us, like anyone who was around you, you would play all these rappers for. Like I played the midget song for one of my friends and they were like, "What is
Oh
this?"
my gosh, what was that dude's
Yeah.
name? Oh,
And it's hilarious. And I remember the armed robbery song.
oh yeah,
Like
Necro.
there's so many random songs. I don't even know the names of these people, but they're so underground and they're but it's just
That's a deep cut. People are probably impressed with that one. That's
I hope so. I hope
yeah.
so.
he's
But
pretty messed up, but it's a good cut.
it is. But really, honestly, it was just so much fun to learn about that, a lot of that culture and underground stuff. And but yeah, I mean, Tom Rizzo's synonymous with music. I can't think of someone else that relates more to music than you. You know.
And very well rounded with music too. Like obviously like rap, hip hop is your like passion, but like even like when you listen to 25 Metro or anything musically you've done, you take from different genres of music and you make it into your genre. But like you also still have the appreciation of all the other genres and everything like that. So
Sure.
like, completely well rounded as far as like music knowledge goes too.
I mean, a lot of those 25 Metro ones, like the samples that we used might have been some like jazz or soul or something, but like we were pulling drums off of like Led Zeppelin records and friggin' AC/DC, just like an open snare, and then like because it's all builds onto each other, and I think that's kind of like the sampler drum machine introduction in my life was like the thing of like, oh, like that's how music's broken down. Like this is bigger than just friggin' freestyling at the bus stop. Like this, there's so much to it. I love it. But you guys
Well,
are good influence on music with me too, man. Like I think about like who do August Burns rap? We went to a handful of shows in college of things that I would never ever go to or think about going to, and I'm just like, especially stuff like that, because like I might not put on an August Burns Red album, but like going to a show and seeing that is a whole different animal. Like it's an experience, and like you guys definitely introduced me to some crazy stuff.
Well, I think and that was another like cool thing about 24 Down is like we talked a little bit on the podcast about like how like diverse we were as a group, but like we were also diverse in our tastes, whether it be taste of music, taste of movies, taste of TV shows, comedy, whatever. But everybody gave whatever anybody was into an equal chance, and like I think that in a way built the family more. Like I nothing against like hip hop or classic rap or anything like that, but like Andrew was saying, I had no knowledge of that before I met you. But you introduce it and like we all like, okay, we'll give this an honest chance. And then like we were able to enjoy it. Like you and I were talking off air earlier today, and I told you like to this day I still like semi regularly listen to Gangstar because like that was somebody you introduced me to, you know. I don't listen to him, but like I clearly remember there was an artist, and I want to bring up a question too. So MF Doom was like huge for you too. Was there like there was something in college that you wanted to get? Like I don't know if it was like a bust of like his head or like, and you might have even got it like his mask or something like that. Like I kind of remember you being like, I have to get this.
So I probably wanted his mask, but like ironically, you could see up in this corner there's a doll that my cousin got me, and it's like a big like toy. It's the Mad Villain doll, and it's like a big like MF Doom like plastic toy or whatever. But I'm assuming it was the mask. I was upset. I mean, he still will be my favorite rapper forever. Anything I hear from him, I'm just like, what the frig? Like he's a whole like he's your friggin' whatever they say. He's like he's your favorite rapper's favorite rapper, and like he still blows my mind to this day. But it probably was the mask that I was probably coveting.
Yeah, I just remember like you like we're like, I gotta get this. Like, and I don't remember if it like I almost remember like going to, and maybe like my memory again is all over the place, but I kind of remember like going to KOP Mall and there was like a
Yes,
comic
the
store or
comic
something
store.
like that, right? And maybe
Yep.
they had the mask there or something. There was something MF Doom there, and you're
Wasn't it a
like,
Spartan helmet or a Spartan
it was,
mask or something?
Yes.
yeah, it
Let's do
looked
it, yeah.
very
Okay.
similar to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, funny story about MF Doom's mask and Buffalo. He played a show at this bar called Broadway Joe's. He played it in mid 90s, late 90s or something like that. Probably like late 90s, early 2000s. He played a show. His mask fell off during his set. And this kid, Perry, I knew who was lived by the high school I went to, straight up stole his mask and ran off with it. Doom ended the show. He will never come back to Buffalo ever again because this kid I know stole his friggin' mask. Like I think there's a story about someone trying to get it back to him. Someone was trying to work, knew Perry and was like, yo, we're gonna send it back to you. But I was like, man, you ruined years of music that I could have seen because you wanted this mask.
I mean, he's not the most popular rapper, but he could afford another mask, right? Like he's not like he's not like I guess I shouldn't say popular, but he's not like Kanye.
Yeah,
but he could probably buy another mask and come back to Buffalo.
Hey, it's about the principle, Wolfie. All right.
Yeah, it's true.
Well,
Hey, I wanted to show you guys actually quick. This was the reach that Rizzo has out to future generations of music. When I came up, when me and my family came up to visit him and Rachel, he actually was working on a beat, and he let Jade sit down at the beat machine, and him and Jade actually were working on a beat together. And this is like such an awesome video. I'll always treasure it because it's just so cool to see my daughter, and she's like working with Rizzo, and he was like making a beat around her, and it was just so funny. So I know you're not gonna be able to hear it, but I'm at least gonna play the video. But here's her.
yeah, well,
here's her hitting the beat machine, and Tom's doing this good
Awesome.
rap. And she was loving it. She still remembers going in the basement and being able to play with the beat machine and stuff. It's so you know, you even influence my kids.
So
that song went triple platinum.
Yeah.
Well,
more like triple diaper.
She's probably got more skill than Jigsaw does. That's for sure. But,
definitely does.
Yeah, he was pretty bad. He still raps about spaghetti.
For those of you like listening to this podcast, you can like go on the YouTube and kind of see that video. But I'm sure like when we do eventually get around to the follow-up show, the back porch, that Andrew and Francis are doing of the Rizzo, he'll probably throw the actual full clip in so you can see the high quality version, whatever. But that's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely will.
Well, before we dive into some questions, because this is going to lead to a lot of stories, and we're going to touch on a lot of things that a lot of people want to hear about. Is there anything else you want to add, Wolfie or Andrew?
No.
All right. Well, let's dive into it here. Then we got quite a few questions for you, Rizzo. I hope you're prepared. I know you are aware of some of these questions, not all of them. So, yeah. So we'll start off. I think Wolfie's gonna take over here.
Yeah. So kind of exciting. I get to start with my own questions.
Straight to the source.
Yeah. So we'll start with. I'll put it right back to you. Hey man, you got any rock?
Dude, just remember, like you would pop up out of and like you would do something with your hand too. You'd be like, I know what? Like I just out of like random, like you would come up like out of a hallway and catch me off guard. I never had it for you, and I felt bad. And you never had it for me.
Yeah, it's cool. Valley Forge, we didn't have that there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you asked that on my podcast, and I was like, man, I think that's a joke. And then like we texted about it, and like as soon as we did, it just came flooding back to me, which is awesome. So. Second question for you though. So tell me, what's the best part for you about being a father?
All right. So I wrote stuff down because obviously you guys asked these questions earlier, and this one I was like, there will never be enough words to explain what being a father is, seeing your child and what they're in life. But like things that stuck out to me right off the bat is knowing that you helped contribute bringing like something so pure and beautiful into this world, so like innocent and unfazed by the grime of earth. And I guess people can look at it like, well, I don't want to do it because then that's gonna happen and they're gonna get jaded and stuff like that. Yes.
Maker.
Yeah. A few people have mentioned that, but it's just so much more like rewarding seeing that and living with it and experiencing it. Honestly, I was like, not like bad, but I was quite a nihilist before I had Thomas. Like I was just
Yeah.
like, oh, like, well, what difference does it make? Because we're dead. Like who cares?
Right.
Like what? We're gonna die alone. Like and all that stuff. And as soon as he was born, I like completely changed. I'm not like a 180. I still like am very carefree and open with things, but he definitely. I was like, oh, I'm alive
Mm-hmm.
and doing whatever I can for him. Like it's for him, and if we have another kid, it's gonna be for them. Like that's why I'm here now. Like that's the point of it. But other things that stick out to me is like, and I'm sure you've seen this as well, Wolfie, with your daughter. Like watching them, like just learn and develop,
Yeah.
whether it's personality or just like things that they just do or quirkiness of them. I'm just like how are you getting my poop jokes now? Like you get that like I'm making a joke about poop and you're laughing like and just like watching him explain his monster trucks and just watching that personality develop. And then the other thing that stuck out was, and I haven't heard it, I've heard Andrew's kids laugh, but my son's laugh is the best thing in the world. Like that cackling, like kiss up on his neck, and he's just like like that's it's the sweetest sound in the world to me. It's the best thing. I want to do everything I can. Like even when like I have to like discipline him, I'm just like, oh, I want to make you laugh now, man. Like that. Like this sucks watching you sad. Like I want to get that giggle back. And then the last thing with being a parent that I'm grateful for is I never met my grandfather because he died when he was like 50 something, 54 or something like that. And that's Tom Rizzo Jr. So seeing my dad with my son is like the greatest thing in the world. Like it's a namesake. Like you see my dad's love, like that grandfather's love, the grandparents' love has got to be so much different even from the parents' love, I'd imagine. And then just seeing it like twice fold, like initially we weren't Rachel didn't want to name him Thomas because we were like there's us, my dad, there's we have two relatives named Tom. There's so many Toms, and then like he came out of the womb and like just even as like a friggin' newborn, we're like, oh, that's Thomas the Fifth. So like seeing Thomas Fifth, like seeing that with my dad now is like that's the best joy in the world. I love it so much, and I'm glad that he got to spend time with him. But those are my favorite things about parenting so far, and every day it's learning something new that I love about it, or that annoys me.
The other day, my daughter slapped me, and so we tried to teach her not to hit, and then we also tried to teach her to say you're sorry if you hurt somebody, and so she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." We're like, "Okay," and like 30 seconds later, she slapped me and just dead looked me in the eyes as soon as she did it and said, "Oh, I'm sorry." So we just taught her how to hit people and say, "You're sorry" afterwards. But
at least she knows.
Yeah,
it's
man,
funny.
That's awesome.
It's sweet seeing like his guilt too. Like so, I think this was yesterday, the day before. My parents were watching him, and they were trying to change his diaper because he's being stubborn about learning how to use the potty, and I'm gonna have to beat him soon. But he I guess they were trying to change his diaper. He got really mad and bit my dad's nipple and like latched onto it. And like this was like we weren't there, so they disciplined him, and like he went like, oh, and just like he's like, they're like, you gotta say you're sorry, Tom. And like, and my dad was like, he's like, he really latched onto my nipple. Like, he's like, it was really bad. So
did your dad have a shirt on?
I think it was through the shirt, like okay. Over the shirt. He just located he knows where the nips are at. So
little kids, they know where they're at. I mean, they have the recent memory of especially for Rizzos. It's not hard to find it.
Yeah. So like what Rachel was telling me that I think it was earlier today, he must have just remembered that my dad was hurt, and today like Thomas was like, my nipple hurts, like saying that stuff. like I'm like, it's amazing.
Oh man. That's so good. Dude, that's awesome hearing about you and your son. I also have a November baby. I think we talked about that. My daughter was born November 9th.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, if there's one thing we get out of this podcast, it's going to be hat maker babies.
Yeah,
keep talking about it, could happen.
I've already knocked up Hat while we've been doing this podcast. So.
Set up.
Hat's like,
dude, Jigsaw Hat Maker is perfect.
Oh man.
Hey, I can't even convince my wife that, like, I've been trying for years. Like, the next dog we get, I want to name that dog Bruce Wayne. I can't convince her to name the dog Bruce Wayne. There's no way she's gonna let me convince her to name a kid Jigsaw. So.
Why? Does she have something against Batman?
No, she's just like, it's a stupid name. I mean, it is, but like for me, it's like she's like, well, what do we call it, Bruce? I'm like, no, we call it Bruce Wayne. His name is Bruce Wayne. Like,
I tried that too, Hat Maker, and Nancy
doesn't work.
Nancy shot it down. She did say the middle name could be Bryce. So it'd be like a play on Bruce, and it could. And I was like, no, not good enough. It's Bruce Wayne Kindler or nothing.
No, that's sneaky. That's like, no, yeah, it could be Bryce, but that wouldn't work.
Yeah, it was Bryce. My neighbor's dog's name. We got new neighbors that just moved in, and the neighbor's dog's name is Paul. And I'm just like, it's like funny hearing them like, come here, Paul, and he's like a young, like, I forgot what kind of dog, like, but it's like training him. So he's like, Paul, sit, Paul, roll over.
I like, no joke. The best name you can give pets is like the most human name possible. Like, because it's always going to be funny. Like, like, I can't think of a good example. I mean, Paul's a great example, but
pretty good.
And then the opposite is naming your kids like animal names.
Right.
Like Rocky.
Come here, Sparky.
Sparky Hat Maker.
This is my daughter, Muffins. Oh man.
Sweet.
All right, so we got a couple more for me. So one of the questions I have is, if you could have one building at Valley Forge named after you besides 24, which building would it be?
I like this question because I had to do research and like think of what buildings were and all that stuff. So I went to the website and it showed to look at the map. And then I'm like, even on the map, I didn't know really what stuff was. And then I watched their like introduction video, their like tour video on Facebook and stuff like that. And like, even that, I'm like, what the hell is the Anvil? And like all these like new names and stuff. I'm like, what is all that stuff? So after much thought in doing my virtual tour, I realized I don't think it would be a building. It would be that piano room that was near the which I don't think it was by the chapel, right? Yeah, like off to the side. A few of them, yeah. I would want that to be named after me, and then strictly make it like a not worship music studio, like like creative lab, and that would be Rizzo's lab, Pep lab, whatever you would call it, something to show some love. But that would be what I would take and name.
For sure. Like,
that's
great question that I know Wolfie wants to make a recurring question. I love that you did a bunch of research and took a virtual tour and everything like that. But your answer is like, that's the perfect answer. Like, I don't know if we're going to get a better answer from somebody than that. Like,
set the bar high.
Yeah. Tom, Rizzo, you did more research on that question than you did in college.
I actually think
1,000%
somehow Valley Forge is going to know that you watched that video and did that research, and you might get like a letter of invitation to come visit and possibly apply there.
Or it could be a bill.
Yeah.
We found him.
I'm going to do my TED talk there.
Oh man, that's good. That was a good answer.
That was a good question. That was fun.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a great one if we keep using that. So, easy or simple question, maybe not easy question. Who was the best rapper at Valley Forge?
Can I answer this one?
You should.
Thomas fucking Rizzo.
Yeah, we know.
All right, so.
But he's too humble to say that.
I did think you were going to say The Apprentice, but Rizzo is very close.
Apprentice is raw. Like, I wish I knew names of like some of the other people who did rap there, because like there was some pretty embarrassing rap. There was a couple good ones, but there was definitely some pretty embarrassing rap. But it seemed to come later like when I noticed more people rapping and stuff like
Mhm.
that. But I don't know, like I'm trying to think of other people. Definitely wasn't Chaz. It so we'll get to this with Buddha's thing because he brought this up, but like did Buddha rapped at one point? I feel like he was involved in it somehow.
He
Buddha
talks
rapped
about it on
all
his
the time.
podcast.
He rapped all the time. When I first moved in, I was next to his room because he was ARA, or in
That's
the ARA
right.
small
That
room,
little yeah.
and I would hear him rap constantly.
I
All he
thought
did was
so.
rap. Yeah,
I thought so.
and he had people in there all the time rapping with him.
Man, that was good.
I'm gonna just read a few names and see if any of
Yeah,
you
yeah.
stick out. Jason Figueroa. Figueroa. He was involved. Christopher Licia.
You got faces to match these names that you could
Yes.
show me real quick?
Anthony. Let me finish reading the names,
Okay.
and I'll show you some pictures. Anthony Martin. James Holt, Ambassador.
Oh man, so James Holt was a cool dude. He's the graffiti kid, I think.
So speaking of James
No.
Holt just passed away. Just
Maybe I'm wrong.
random. I just heard that the other day.
Maybe I'm wrong with James Holt.
Shit.
All right, let me show you some of these pictures. If I can't see the camera.
I remember Christopher.
The Rappers Glee Club.
yeah. Man, this is gonna be an impossible question to ask because I don't remember any of these. Like I remember these faces, but
so my answer was right then.
Yeah. So
yeah, I
it's
guess
you.
you're right. I guess you're
Yeah.
right.
It's
Of course it
unanimous.
was.
Dookie on all of them. Although
Well,
the one dude rapped in tongues, and that kind of like really set the stage high.
So that thing I just showed was I didn't even remember there being a hip hop did you win like a separate thing, like a talent show, and then this also? Because I remember like a talent show.
Yeah,
That was back in the theater, right?
Yeah, but apparently there was a whole hip hop contest too that you won.
So I don't remember how, like what, because I like remember opening for like those big rap. What was the guy's name? Ambassador.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I remember like talking to those guys, but I don't remember if I had to like qualify for something for that, or like I had to. I do remember the theater doing the talent show thing, but I don't remember if I had to do something for that.
I think that rap thing was in the main chapel.
It was.
Okay.
And after that, you actually like made contacts, and they were like, "We would love for you to come and record." Like I remember them talking to you, saying some stuff about that.
So here's the caption on the picture of Thomas Rizzo, winner of the hip hop contest, gives the audience a taste of his medicine. So to me, that tells me you won a hip hop contest to then be in chapel. But I also remember you doing a talent show. Maybe you only did the talent show, and the dumb yearbook people were like, "Oh, it was a hip hop contest." Like I don't remember, but like that kind of was like that's what threw me off. I was like, I don't remember a hip hop contest.
Yeah,
But
I remember it. I remember it because I remember tasting your medicine afterwards.
I gave that taste. I think, that's like, I remember like people being like hype about me meeting these rappers, and I'm like, I don't know who these people are. Like, and then like, I remember going with Jordan Daniels into Philly to a couple studios and like meeting people, and there was one dude. Andrew played me a couple Christian rappers I liked, but there was like one dude in particular that I really liked, and I can't think of his name. I like got to meet him, and I was like, oh,
Was it Mars Ill? Or
no, not Marzel. It's funny. I looked him up recently, and I can't think of it. I will try and do research, or we can save it for the back porch, and I can.
There we go.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, so I guess I'm the best rapper. Screw all the mother
You are, man. You are.
Thanks.
So, speaking of the best, this is the last question. Who was the better Guitar Hero performer, Pat or Rizzo?
Man, we both hit our peaks there, and it was close. But I think Hat was definitely like you, and it might have been from influence from rock shows and like that scene, but like it fit you, man. It was suited. I was like if we were standing, I would be a little back because like you were the front man, and I was playing rhythm. So it's like,
You know what? Like this is what I'll say. Like, and I don't like my Guitar Hero talent as far as like being able to play the songs and stuff like that. Like I was, um, I'm not trying to sound cocky, but I was very good. Like I could play all the songs on expert, whatever. But like when we would do the concerts, and this is something that maybe you didn't get enough credit for, I knew that like I could do the extra stuff. I could jump around. I could try and flip guitars around. I could whatever, because I knew like, hey, if I start failing, like Tom's super solid enough to like keep this thing going. But it was cool because you brought your own element and you had fun with it, I think. And I I mean I would have to disagree. Like, yeah, I might have like tried to like be more crazy and stuff like that, but like you added a completely different element that I think if it was like if you would take us and split us up and watch just me doing it or just you doing it, I think it'd be interesting to watch me for about 30 seconds, but it'd be really funny to watch you, funny and interesting to watch you for like the whole thing, because you brought this different element to it. So
yeah, we complemented each other well, and we definitely. I just remember like playing that game so much and staring at the wall after as it like you get that weird tunnel vision from it. And I remember like seeing
So
it whip down.
so I brought it up, I think, on my episode. Do you remember with because you and I were roommates at the time. Do you remember the Freebird freak out that I had where I like came close to passing and like freaked out and ran through and like
Yes.
drop kicked a hole in the wall, and then we like that's when the block posters started because we were like, let's put this poster over the hole and hope they never find it.
Dude, like, because you went feet first, I think.
Yeah.
Or was it head first? Yeah, it was feet first. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Man, I can hear like like in that part, and like and I just and like you hear all whatever that noise it makes when it starts cooking. And I just like,
Was your freak out during the concert? Because you guys did a Freebird concert. I remember you doing that.
It was like the concert happened after because I got to the point where I could finally like pat.
Yeah.
But this was my first time ever like I finally got to Freebird because you couldn't play that song until it was the last song.
That's right. Yeah.
And I finally got to it, and I was like so close to passing it. I was like right at the end, and like just messed something up that wasn't even like I should have done it anyway. Like I should have been fine, and I just instinct took over. I don't remember. My like body left this earth for a second and just.
Man, we were very passionate about that game. That was fun.
I think.
All right, well, I have the next set of questions if you're done talking about that.
Yep.
And this is very fitting because I have questions from Colleen, and one of them has to do with Buffalo. So I'm sure you know what that will entail.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll start with the first one where she says, what made you decide to go to VFCC?
So I like this question, Colleen, because it was like, I think a few of you guys know about it, but I wasn't really so outspoken about it. But like, not that I was like an awful person, but it was just like, it was definitely one of those fork in the road moments in life where I was like, yeah, like I'm like smoking mad weed, partying all the time, like nothing really solid, no ideas for college or anything like that. And I remember going to an AG church and hearing some people talk about Valley Forge. I think a couple people at my church went to Valley Forge, and like, I don't know if I ever did a breakaway, but I think I like came and visited or something like that. And it was just like right time and place kind of thing where it was just like, all right, this is what needs to happen now. I don't necessarily know if it's going to like mature me or change me or do anything, but it was just it was the break from what I was doing, and it was perfect. Like it was like that was needed for me to like, I don't want to be like become a holy Christian and change my wicked ways, because like clearly that didn't happen, but it was just very much like I met the best group of people, found love immediately with my friends, and you guys are all positive influences on me. And it was that change of environment that needed to happen. So that's how I ended up there.
Awesome. Well, I can't remember his name, sadly, because he was a great teacher.
Yes.
He was a pastor at your church, right?
Yep. Bowden actually referenced
Was it
him.
Brubaker?
Dippled.
Dipple.
Dipple. Okay,
Yeah,
Dipple.
yeah.
I had him in a class, and he was awesome.
He's so raw.
Yeah.
Like you, and I feel like there's a handful of teachers like that, like
Yeah.
humble, crazy intelligent, good Christian men, and like he's a prime example.
He
Yeah,
he was completely underrated too, in my opinion, as far as a professor, because like he wasn't one of your big name professors that like the school touted as like, this is our, go whatever, but like the guy was brilliant, like you said.
It was, and that's why I was like, it was sad when he decided to go there, because like clearly he had an impact on the congregation at our church too, and our church was like 75 people, maybe, like not a big church, so he was tight with everybody, and like very close knit church family. And but like everybody understood, they're like, yo, you're too raw, man, like you need to be doing bigger, better things. So yeah, he was awesome.
he was for sure. I remember his class. Wolfie and I were in a class together with him, and he was really good.
He did like Christian Thought or something like that, I forget.
I do not remember names of classes.
I don't know. Yeah.
Dippled, yeah, it was Christian Thought.
Okay.
That was like his big freshman class that he did.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
All right, so the next question is the one that's coming. She said has to do with the night we went out on the town and saw your show. She said, did you also want to punch me in the face in Buffalo too?
All right.
Be honest.
Honestly, no. But honestly, if Andrew did, would have been justified. Like that's if I could say that. No, I was just like, what did I wrote? Like, I was like, I didn't want to punch you because you were just being you. You were being Colleen. Like we're at a show. There's like, he calls people on stage. Like you're loud Jersey girl. You're ready to party. You're in a city you've never been to. Like, you're being you. You're doing you. But like, what you didn't know is like how gross that guy was. And I think that's really what hit Andrew. His name is Blowfly. He's this 70s. He used to ghostwrite soul music for like famous soul singers like Otis Redding, and like do all that stuff. He's really good, but he just started getting famous off of singing dirty songs and like covering old songs, and he's foul, like very, very, and that was more, I was just like, I don't think you know what you're getting on stage with, like right now. Like, dude has songs where he's like, suck it till you're satisfied, and like, I'm just like she's up there dancing to it, like I don't think you knew. So no, I wouldn't have punched you. I didn't want to punch you. I know Andrew would have been mad, but obviously Andrew's not gonna lay a hand on you. But I don't think you knew the environment and the situation. I think you were just in the moment at that point. But I'm glad no one got punched, because we probably would have had to deal with police or something like that.
And what's this guy's name? He sounds like my kind of guy. I just want to
Totally is Blowfly. My friends have a signed record from him from that show.
I'm glad Andrew or Tom didn't punch Colleen, because if one of them did, that person would probably now be dead.
She had a razor blade under her tongue. She's funny.
All right, yeah, that was a good answer to that. But before I ask you her last question, she wants to say that she misses you so much. She says, thank you for all the long talks you would have with me, usually because you were talking me out of doing something stupid or saying something stupid. And congrats on your beautiful family. So.
Well, thank you, Colleen. And I love you very much. You're an awesome woman. And I'm glad I feel like maybe that's, if I could speak, I don't speak about myself often, but I feel like that's something that I am confident with, is like not acting on that initial thought. And like, she's very much like act on that initial thought person, like, and like, so it acted well. And my wife is too, like, and I think that's kind of what works with it, is because I'm like, so many dumb things, and it's probably because I did a lot of dumb things on initial thoughts growing up. Like, I like lived a long life before I was like of legal age to do things, so I feel like maybe that's like got a lot of life experiences before that. But like, I was just like, man, you just sit back for a second and like think about it and listen and then act. So I'm glad that she remembers that. And thank you for the love, and you're an awesome person. I'm not listening to your podcast, Colleen. I'm not surprised with seeing what you've gone through and seeing what you've become. Like, if anyone was to deal with all those struggles and hardships, it would be you. You're as tough as nails, and you're an awesome person. I don't have any doubt that you're going to get over anything that comes your way. And hopefully we get an update of what you were talking about last time, because that is obviously not an easy situation. But I'm not worried about you at all. You're going to be good, girl.
All right. So her last question is, what is your favorite memory of 24 Down?
That's a tough question. Like,
I know.
I get it. It's
Two
tough.
years of memories, and
I know. So did she say what my last favorite memory was? I feel like maybe.
Well, no, she said, like, basically, lastly, what is your favorite memory of 24
I
Down?
see. Okay. So, well,
I mean,
it as
you can
last
answer
favorite.
that.
Maybe she said your least favorite memory.
Yeah, it was really
She
talking
did
to
get a
Colleen
Jersey education.
Yeah.
She...
My least favorite was like having to talk to Colleen for hours. Well, so I wrote it as my last favorite memory, because again, you just said ahead, it's like there's so many, and it'd be hard to narrow it down. But like, my last one that really stuck out was obviously the roast. Like that was just a cool experience. Like, I remember, like, I like had an idea that it was gonna happen, and like Jen wasn't good at lying or like hiding things, so it was like she like
Just
brought
straight
me
up,
to
Tom,
it.
they're gonna roast you tonight.
Yeah.
I can't lie. It's unbiblical.
Totally. Got the real. But I just remember like waiting in that. I was like making beats in that piano room, ironically, and like going in there and doing that roast with you and I, Andrew, and that was such a fun memory. And like, it was just like, because it was like, the roasts are sweet, and that's why I'm excited that we're gonna do it eventually. The roasts are sweet because it's like all we do is really roast each other, like from not even seeing each other for years. We just pick it up and we're just immediately making fun of each other. But it's that was like what we did, but it was very like warm and loving, but in the most insensitive way. Like, it was just that was the last memory that stuck out, and one of my favorites for sure.
You know what's like, to me, what's interesting about the whole like the roast thing or whatever, and not just particularly the roast that happened or the return of the roast, but just like you said, it's kind of constantly what we do to everybody anyway. And what's interesting to me about that, and I don't know if anybody else here or anybody else listening feels the same way, like I don't feel like I'm necessarily like the most like quick-witted person, but when I'm around you guys and it's in that moment, that mode of like roasting, like I feel like it's just like I'm on my game because everybody else is on their game, and it just comes so naturally and so comfortably, and not from any other place than love. Like, which sounds weird because like we'll roast each other hard, but we all are cracking up, and the person that is getting made fun of is cracking up. Like, there's no offense ever taken.
It's true.
And
Actually,
it's just,
I wanted I was trying to find it before, but Wolfie, I still think I have your printout of your roast. I think like everybody did so well, but yours was very much structured like like I could tell you watched like some Comedy Central roast, because it was like you hit everybody off in the room, circled it around, like. So I think if I find it on a back porch episode, I'll read yours or send it to you or something, because that was good.
I took that so, even though it's a roast and it's hilarious, I just think I took it so seriously because I wanted it just to have that feel. And like, out of that whole thing, like, I loved everybody in that room, and therefore nobody in that room was safe.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the funny thing about that is Majetsky said the same thing. He said he had his. So I think it was a thing for me that after I roasted you, I gave you like my jokes on the sheet, and I actually remember I was Harshberger's best man, and basically a best man speech is a roast. And I think I gave him like my speech after I gave my
funny.
best man speech.
That's really cool.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That's
So
really
I'm
cool.
glad you guys. I'd love to see that.
I want it like honestly, if my contractor didn't come over like right before this episode, I was coming down to my basement to look through my stuff to grab it, but it'll be good to hold off. But yeah, that was awesome.
Well, it was funny. Nancy, I told Nancy the roasts are gonna come back sometime. I was like, had asked me. I was like, I'm so excited. I was like, I can't wait to just roast my friends. And she's like, you guys are so weird. I'm so excited to just pick on my friends because I'm like, we just have so much fun. Like,
I know.
I mean, I've
The
heard every
chats,
short
man.
joke
Yeah.
known to man. Like, I've heard every single one.
Well, and we roast ourselves now.
We
Yeah,
do. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Half the jokes we crack are
Yeah.
self-demeaning. Yeah.
And I think like the one of the cool or interesting things about the roast itself is like not everybody is gonna necessarily want to be roasted because there's just different personalities or whatever. But like I know like for myself, like when I get roasted, I've told everybody that is involved, like, please, I'm begging, hold zero punches. Like nothing is off limits. Junior actually messaged me separately after I said that. He was like, "Hey, I know you said like everything's good, nothing's off limits, but like seriously, is there anything like you don't want us to bring up?" I'm like, no, like because like I know it's all in good fun. It's all like nobody is like just full of hate and like, oh, this is my chance or whatever like that. And so I think
Right.
they potentially could get pretty raw, but when we bring them back, like it's going to be some of the best laughs, and it's going to be some of the biggest smiles, like as far as like listening to it or being involved in it or whatever like that. So
Well, all the roasts at college, they all ended with us basically in tears because
yeah,
we were losing a friend, and we were able to roast each other, have fun, laugh, and then by the end of it, it was we were all saying heartfelt things, and so they were really special, and I can't wait to do it too.
Because it took that aspect of like those Comedy Central roasts, but instead of like Hollywood elites like sucking each other off, it was like instead of like being like you're such a great actor, it's like, yo, you're an amazing person. Like it ended out with what we were really feeling. Yeah, like I don't think that, like there's obviously no one hates anyone in the slightest, and I think that's what like sets the stage where we could just say whatever the F we want because it's like
Right.
the heart is there.
yeah.
Well,
if anyone would
we
be
know all
offended-
each other. We
Yeah.
know all each other so well, like so we know like the sensitive areas that maybe tread lightly on, but
Yeah,
we still don't. So,
for sure.
Well, if anyone was going to be mad at a roast, it would be James. I mean, he gets roasted more than anybody.
No,
I don't know. Colleen gets roasted a lot too, to be
it's
fair.
true.
yeah, but they're from Jersey, so it's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily, Baldwin looks like he's a good-looking guy because if he wasn't, he would get roasted just as.
Just don't be
Yeah.
born in Jersey and you're good.
Yeah. Stupid geographic location.
All right, so these next set of questions here come from Buddha. Some of these are going to be quick and rather funny. I feel like you might need to get your drops ready for some of these. Who knows?
Okay.
All right, so the first question from Buddha is, can you give us a taste of the pep nip dance?
I had to like think about if this was the same one, and I'm pretty sure it is. I don't have music to play to it, so I'll just add some air horns, but I think this is it.
That's 100%.
That's what I thought. Okay, all right, cool. So,
Like again,
So many memories.
if
Yeah.
you're listening to this on podcast form, timestamp it, go to the YouTube, like search around, give it like a 5-minute window of that timestamp from the podcast just to see Tom do that dance again. That was great.
Wow.
Okay, so here's another one. When did the pep nip name come about?
so I'm hoping, and I'm glad that we have a deep crew on this podcast today because I'm hoping someone. I have no idea who originated it. I had like, it was someone on the floor Like it could have been Tim. I honestly don't know.
So the only thing that I'm gonna say, and again, I don't know the answer to this, but I remember, like, to me, for whatever reason, like, Tim is synonymous with pep nips.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's maybe just because he loved it so much. Maybe he did come up with it. I don't know. I can't remember.
Well, I think the only reason we think of Tim is because he's the one that pinned all those pepperonis to your door.
Oh, okay.
Man,
Yeah.
I think that's why we always think of Tim, but because he did that, it was already something going on beforehand. So
True.
I'm not sure where it came from.
It also, he was very much in like the friggin' photoshops and stuff of like,
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
so yeah. But I was really racking my brain, and like someone, it was a Valley Forge thing. Like it was no one before that. It was definitely.
Are you sure? I mean, it's pretty obvious.
Like,
Like,
I'm pretty sure your parents were like, "Do we name this kid Pep Nips, or like, what do we call this thing?"
The doctor's like, doesn't spank my butt, he slaps my nips. It's like the same size. Yeah, I was really racking my brain. I really don't know, but whoever it is, I hope you step up and say it, because it's a legacy, and you deserve all the clout from that.
I don't think it is. I think it's just like, it's natural. It's your second name, man. Like, it's just who you are, and maybe Tim just brought it home.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
An angel came to Tim in the night and whispered it in his ear, and he was like, "I'm gonna nail pepperonis to your door," and brought it home. Yeah.
and you shall call him Pep Nips. All right, so Buddha's next question here. I'm sensing a theme here. He wants to know if you are proud of your pep nips.
So I'm not really like proud of them, but I've learned to appreciate their originality. So like it stuck because I feel like not a lot of people have pep nips, and now I'm not like, yo, Pete, these nips, like, but I'm just like, you know what, I got pep nips, like they're large nipples, and like what's funny is that like it's just my areola that's large. My actual nipple is like teeny, but it might just be because the comparison.
It's the music theme. It's like a record.
I wish I had one right in my hands.
All right, so next question is he wants to know if your wife likes your pep nips.
No, she doesn't. I don't think she looks less at me because of them, but she's not seeking after them. Like she's not trying to scratch them like records. Yeah, that's not happening. I wish she did.
So, and this is now hearing the story about your son and your dad, this is a very fitting question. Does your kid try to touch your pep nips?
He sure does. When like, especially right now, Thomas is at a stage where I don't know if he's like afraid of something, but he hasn't been sleeping in his bed lately, and he's been coming in our room at like, we'll put him in bed at like 9, and he'll sleep from like 9 till 1 in the morning. At 1, he'll cry, and we can't get him to sleep in his bed, so he comes in our bed. So he's been waking up some mornings in our bed, and I don't sleep with the shirt on, and he just be ringing them like doorbells, man. Like it just, like if he sees him, he's just like bop bop bop. So funny.
Well, you're not alone on that one, because Buddha said that his kids do the same thing. So
I had a feeling. Buddha's got some healthy nips though too. Like, I feel like mine are taking a lot of the shine. But
all right, so this one's finally, we're not on the pep nips anymore. Buddha wants you to explain the first time that you guys met and how you ended up in his room without him knowing.
When I saw this question, I was like, I didn't know that he didn't know I was in his room. Like, so going back to the best rapper at Valley Forge, Chaz, I remember I was living in 24 Up, and Chaz was up there and like heard that I could rap or something. And Chaz was talking to Buddha, was down in 24 talking to Buddha. And I was like just walking by or something. And Chaz called me into his room, or brought me into Buddha's room, and was like, yo, like he raps or whatever, and like introduced me and stuff like that. And what's funny is like, I don't know if he was like, Buddha said he was like intimidated, like he's like, who's this weird like tall stone looking dude or whatever, like not knowing. And I was also like, yo, who's this like big mammoth of a dude? He's just as intimidating as I really wasn't like, and he's like looking all serious on his computer, like doing the beats for the raps and stuff like that. And I don't remember if I think I rapped for him at that point, but like I don't remember if I actually did or we just like talked about it. And then I was just like, oh, this dude's a big sweetie. And I think it wasn't like an initial connection, but it was like a very much like the ground is broke and like, I'm going to know this dude forever kind of thing. Like it was very like, and I don't know how I ended up, it had to have been Chaz, like had to have been Chaz saying to come drop these bars, which I wonder what Chaz is doing now.
I think he's made it big time by now, right?
Jazzy West.
And the last question from Buddha here. He wants to know what your favorite Buddha moment is.
So these kind of correlate, or they could have been separate. But like the first time hearing him scream like a little girl is just like that's like the like most amazing moment. I'm just like oh yeah, like whoa, that came from you. And then like that kind of tied into us. I don't know if it was the same thing, but that tied into us just messing with Carlos in the hallway. And like it could have been like Buddha screaming like a girl messing with them, or it could have just been us like pounding on doors and running away and stuff like that. But just like I just remember like being in that hallway late night, like crying, laughing with him, just like screwing around. Like I think Buddha might have been the biggest like goofball out of all of us on that floor. Like the pure child at heart fun, like nothing destructive, nothing cruel, just like I just want to goof and clown around. And I think those times just messing with him in the hallway and just like hearing him, like I wish I like I feel like he had like a particular laugh too. Like Buddha's definitely got a contagious laugh, but like I just remember like crying, laughing, messing with that dude.
Well, I loved on his podcast when he actually did the scream. Like someone asked him to do the scream.
Same.
The thing I thought about was so funny was it was fun. It brought back so many memories of hearing it in the hallway, but it made me laugh so hard because I'm like, his wife knows he's probably recording a podcast with his college friends. He lives with what, her parents, or is it his parents? He lives, but so all of a sudden they just hear this like blood curdling kid scream coming from him. And
no delay either. No delay. He's just like, I'm doing it.
Just like a random, random scream out of nowhere. And they're just like, oh, he's doing a podcast with his college friends. Like, it's just so funny to think about.
It's like the Pavlov dog test, but like his scream like brings back like
it does.
I picture myself in the hallway of Valley Forge. Like
anybody that was listening to that podcast when they heard the scream, like automatically stood up and ran and shut a door.
Yeah. Look for Carlos. We're like, oh no.
They're like, why did I just run in the bathroom and slam the door behind me? So good.
Yeah. Carlos.
So next questions come from the Matt Baldwin, who recently did the podcast. So his first question to you is that number 87?
Yo, this is such a funny, like, I love these are like the moments I live for in life. And I don't think he brought this up on his podcast, but one of our late night Wawa runs, like there must have been some bar close to the Wawa, like in that vicinity or something like that. That's like, yeah, there was.
I mean, yeah, what? I had no idea.
The Sly Fox, is that what it was?
Yeah. So we're in line waiting for our food, and like we were like standing with our tickets waiting for it. I got mine, Bowden's got his, and there's just a couple random people in there, and they like call out the number, and it was like 84, and it was Bowden's, and he goes to grab it, and this guy like walks up and he's like, yo, is that number 87? Like he's like, give me that. I'm gonna eat that. Like, give me that. Like, I was like, no, this is 84. like it was just such like a, like the dude wasn't threatening, and it wasn't like it was just like such a funny, like he could tell that we were like, what is this guy talking about? And he like went with it. is that number 87? Like, give me that. It was so good.
I love just like there's just like singular moments from school that are just like so like to anybody else like outside of 24 or even like it just like it makes no sense, but we would just latch onto things and just
true.
like ride it forever.
Yeah. And it probably speaks to like how little there was to do in that actual area. Like, so we had to like really make the most of like our interactions at Wawa with meth heads, but like it was like still so beautiful, so beautiful.
Oh man. So his second question was also, he says, what was the biggest reason you had to leave Valley Forge Christian College?
So I kind of mentioned it in my catch up, and it was just like, for being such an indecisive, like just outside a teenager, and us guys be maturing later than we should and stuff like that. It was just too much, like so expensive to discover myself. Like I maybe like I always think about this. Like I always think if I like went to college now or like 25 years old even, I'd be like, oh word, like I know what I have to do. Like I know that I need to apply this much. I know what a loan is and what a difference of a federal and a state, and knowing how much, and like, and I probably would succeed, but it was just like that time in life, I had no direction, or you guys were the only reason I was at that school that long. So it was just like, there's no money in the world that could pay for you guys' friendship, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I also can't, like, I'm still paying off these loans, and I'm sure everybody else is too, and it's just like too expensive to discover. I think I wrote like, yeah, same thing about like I wanted to be like a teacher, sounded awesome, but I just like it's not for me. I'm not organized enough to do it. I'm not and I'm kind of glad I made that decision, because I like, even now, like if I had an opportunity to learn that and try, I don't think I would want to do that. So it was just like all that added up and spent all my money.
I mean, you don't need to spend $20,000 to find yourself. Right?
Yep. Yeah. It was worth it for you guys, though. It was worth it for you guys.
Amen.
All right. Well, I get to ask the next set of questions, which actually come from me. So I'm excited to ask you some of my own questions here.
I like it too, because I didn't get these ahead of time. So
I know. We wanted to throw you a curveball here.
How'd you get the ones on Facebook ahead of time?
I got some connections.
All right. That's fair.
All right. So I put, was I the best hype man you ever had?
I mean, without a question. like
Thank you.
You like, Rachel knows the most of my raps, and then you were like right there, right? Like almost up there with knowing what I was going to say, or even if just like doing whatever, you brought the energy. And yeah. If I ever was to pursue a rap career, you would definitely be called. And it's funny too, because most rappers have this like huge 400-pound dude as their hype man, and it'd just be great to have you.
Hey, I basically was your Kevin Hart from Scary Movie.
Yeah.
Remember, he was he was always a hype man, right?
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah,
man.
That's hilarious. Yeah, everyone has that friend that's like, you're like, look at him and you're like, dude, I can't believe he's my friend. He's so cool. That's what you are. You know what I mean? I was always like so excited to follow you around, just be like, yeah, I know his raps too. You know?
Yeah, it's funny. It's humbling because I was an idiot.
Well, I looked up to you, idiot.
Thanks, dude.
Nice. All right. The second question I have was, do you remember the guy's name from Wawa? Who, it was the same guy, because we'd go in at like 2 a.m. and you would always talk to him. And I was like, I wonder if you remember his name, because he knew you every time.
So, and I don't know if this was one of the names that Baldwin brought up, but there was Dave who made the sandwiches, old skinny Dave who made the sandwiches.
Yeah.
And then I think Zach was the name of the cashier, who kind of like ponytail, maybe long hair.
Yeah. I remember him now too. Yeah.
Yeah. And like he would always, like, I just remember actually when I was saying in the group text that I was playing Fortnite with Bowden and his wife, me and Bowden were talking about it. That Zach dude, like, he's just like the one night he's just like, it's a gorgeous night. It's a gorgeous night. And it was like 2 a.m. on like a cloudy night or whatever. But I wonder if that was like, what is that? Is that who you were referring to, or was there someone?
I was talking about the sandwich guy because
Dave.
it kind of plays into the first question where I would walk in. I always tell people I have an easily forgettable face. Like no one seems to ever remember me. And I would go in there to Wawa, and we'd go there every night. You know, you guys know it. We'd roll in deep, and we would all just fill the store and all order sandwiches. And I'd go up there, and I'd be like, oh, I'm excited to like have this conversation with him, and he'd just be like, oh, here's your sandwich, and I'd be like, oh, thanks. And then like Rizzo would go up there, and he'd be like, oh, Rizzo, what's up? Oh, and like he was like your best friend, and I was always like, hey, I'm his friend too. Like I'm
his hype man.
You don't know that? Yeah.
He just didn't see you. His counters are pretty high. I feel like those guys at Wawa were like they were just like guys you go in and see, and they'd just be like, oh man, like same shit, different day, like, but you know, just I'm making the best of what I can.
I think about them in comparison to like when I was making hoagies and friggin' like it's like they're probably that similar, except for Dave. Dave was a little older, but like the cashiers and stuff, I'm like they're going through that friggin' everyday grind, like just living in Phoenixville, like
yeah.
Before I got like you guys all keep talking about how Phoenixville is popping off now. Yeah, I'm really interested to see it because you could see it had potential.
Do you remember? So you worked for Iron Hill, and we can talk about this. Yes. Do you remember Don that worked at Iron Hill? He was like one of the older guys that was like a bus, or they called it server's assistants, but was like a bus boy. But he was like that too, man. He was like bald, and he'd come in and he'd be like, "Hey, how's it going?" And he'd be like, like the wife I divorced, and like she keeps coming after me for the kids, but like I'm loving life, man. Like how's your day going? Like
that's funny. I was because you and James were working there for a bit, right?
Yeah, you literally, I think you just stopped showing up for work, and James was like, "Well, this is my friend Wolfie. Like he could work here."
That's fun. Yeah, I remember like not like I'll being like, man, I can't friggin' take a busing job right now. Like that's funny.
But no, I was just saying seems like people in Phoenixville just had that kind of air around them of like, yeah, like this town kind of crappy, but we're doing the best we can.
Yeah. Which is funny because it's like Buffalo was like that forever, and like now money has finally gotten here where it's like you could see it's like a destination, and like sports and stuff like that's huge, and like obviously I'm not comparing Buffalo to Phoenixville because it's way different, but it's like very much like super blue collar, super like nothing flashy, super like dive bars are the most popular. You're not going to clubs to see Maseratis parked out in front. Like it's very like blue collar, just not as much meth as Phoenixville.
I lived in Montana, and there was a lot of meth in Montana.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. And it had America's best dive bar, actually.
Oh.
In Great Falls, Montana. There was it was called the Mermaid Bar, and there was a window into the pool for the hotel. And so the bar was there, and you'd go in the bar, and they had lights hung all over and stuff, but then they would have a window behind where they served drinks, and the girls would dress as mermaids and swim into the window and do flips and stuff, and you could give them tips, and they would tape your money up on the window, and they would wave or blow you a kiss or something. But like the best part was there was a lady there. I know, it's crazy.
This is
was
in America.
Is Nancy already in bed? Does she know about this?
Andrew's at the club.
No, but the best part was there was a lady named Pat, and she had throat cancer, and she would play the organ and only sing Johnny Cash songs.
Whoa.
And she had that real deep kind of like that kind of voice.
Yeah.
Because of her throat cancer, but that's all she would sing is Johnny Cash songs. And she would sit at the organ, and it was like you'd go in there and you'd be like, "Hey, Pat," and she was like super mean, but like that was like her thing. Like
this does sound like the dive bar of
America.
Yeah,
and go there.
Yeah, and here's the cool thing is that movie that Tom Hanks made. I think back in the 90s maybe with Daryl Hannah, where she was a mermaid. Yeah. Daryl Hannah actually went there and swam as a mermaid there. So it was like a big deal that like this big movie star went to Great Falls, Montana.
That was the first time I saw fish titties. That sounds crazy. I would
So
definitely go to
weird.
that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Let me pull
Anyway.
on your dick a little while.
I to be honest, I'm not convinced this is not a strip club.
This is
No, I promise,
This is
it
where we're
wasn't.
gonna have the 24 down reunion.
Dude,
Let's
we'll
go.
all fly out
Yeah.
to Great Falls, and I will show you this place. But Pat did pass away. I'm sad to say she did pass away while I was still there. She was pretty old, but she was the main draw. I mean, people loved Pat. She was awesome.
Do you guys, I don't know if this was like a New York State run ad, but do you guys remember those ads where like they showed the guy singing on the street and he had the larynx surgery or whatever, and he was like, "You don't always die from tobacco. He's like,
Yeah.
sometimes you just lose your lungs." Like that's what this reminds me of.
They would have made a
Yes.
great couple.
That's my babe, Pat.
Yeah. A little blackened lung just pops out for their baby.
Has your lungs.
Oh man. All right.
Oh.
So this question I'm actually really excited to hear about. It says, how big of an influence is music in your life, and when did you become so passionate about it?
Ooh. So music is huge. Like, I don't know why, I always think about this. I'm like, why is it so, it's just like weird sounds and levels of sounds and rhythms and stuff like that. And I know everybody's got their own like connection to it, but I'm just like, there's something so like primitive about it, and something like so like you just feel it in your bones. And I've been trying to, I did it for a while and I've been slacking lately, but I've been trying to, especially because I don't even like listen to rap music anymore, like hip hop. There's a couple like guys from Buffalo that are kind of killing it. They got like signed to Shady Records and stuff. And like they're like doing really well. And I'll listen to their stuff and some other things, but I mostly listen to like funk and soul and jazz and stuff like that. And I've been, oh, this is what I was going to say. I've been trying to, I was doing it for a minute. I've been trying to find one new artist like every week, and not like brand new, but like something I've never heard before. And just like, it like introduced me to like Nigerian funk music, and then like some weird like indie alt music, and then some weird soul. And then it was like, it's been really cool, like discovering stuff. But man, I don't know when it really like, because I grew up with music where both my parents are like incredible singers, like especially my dad. Like if my dad didn't have me and my brother, like he probably could have went out and sang like in some Southern gospel stuff. He's like a tenor, great, like he was always like the dude at like the Christmas shows at church and like hitting these high notes, and like everybody's like, whoa, like blown away, and like talking all this stuff. And he still I remember going on a cruise, and they were having people do like karaoke or something like that, and they were singing, and they brought someone up on stage, and it was like Temptations, and it was like 4 black dudes and my dad, and then like they get like they're doing their parts, and then it gets to my dad and he starts singing, and everybody's like, no, like losing their stuff, like going nuts. So it's like music's always been, and my mom plays guitar and she's like got an awesome voice and stuff. It's always been there. But like I'm trying to think of, like, I can't really pinpoint. It was probably like between seventh and ninth grade where it was like I really started like hearing music instead of listening to it. I was thinking that quote from White Man Can't Jump. He's like, I know you're listening to Jimmy, but you're not hearing Jimmy. Like, and it was like, that's what I felt like at like music. And it was just like, I'm trying to think of some like albums that were like playing like weird stuff, like a POD record, a Jay-Z record, a Lenny Kravitz record, a Bad Religion record, like we like just all over and that was like the first time where I'm like, yo, this is like art. Like I've appreciated art, but like this is real art and stuff like that. So that's when I started getting with it. But that'd probably be and it's just grown every single day. I don't know what people are laughing.
Yeah, what's going on here?
What
So
happened?
I know with music what you're talking about. Like
We're good.
I'll always remember the the first time I heard Kanye West "Jesus Walks with Me,"
Mm.
and it was to the what was that movie? Jarheads. It was in the
Oh
trailer,
yeah, yeah.
and that was like one of those beats that I was just like, I didn't even know who it was. I had no idea. Like I remember actually after I saw that trailer and they were playing that, I went to Best Buy, and this was before smartphones and all that stuff. And I didn't have a computer or anything, but I went to Best Buy and I asked. I said, "Hey, this movie came out, like this movie trailer, Jarheads, and there was like this rap song in there, and they were talking about Jesus walks with me or something." And I was talking to the guy in the CD section. And he had no idea what I was talking about. But that
That's
was like one of those
funny.
beats to me that like I'll always remember that. Like the second I heard it, I was just like, "This beat is like, it was
And
amazing." Like
that's
it,
crazy because I wouldn't have thought like associating it with Jarhead. And now I'm thinking about it. It's got like that like military drum
yeah,
roll, like
and yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
yeah. That's funny.
But yeah, so I think to me, I always remember that. There was one DMX beat I'll always remember. Well, I forget the name of the song actually, but I remember where I was, when I was, the car I was sitting in. I remember I was sitting in front of Rockville Outlets on 30. I remember everything about it because the second that started playing, it just like, I don't know what it was, but I was just like, this is amazing.
That's
Like,
funny.
I don't know why. So
Yeah,
yeah, I loved what you said about how music is so primitive, and when it hits you, everything, all different types of music hit people differently. But
yeah.
man, when I hear some beat or I hear a hardcore song or something that just is exactly what I love, it's like I remember the exact moment for the rest of my life. Like
Yeah,
it's
man.
really weird.
Yeah, it is. I like, and another album I was thinking about that was big influence me is friggin' early Corn albums. Like, I just remember like, and now thinking about like what you're saying about
Mm.
like these people, these like, and from making music myself, I'm like, these people are like consciously trying to invoke that. Like some
Mhm.
stuff just comes naturally, but someone's like, I remember watching that Michael Jackson documentary, This Is It, and he's like there's like they're playing like a whole thing and are playing the music to the thing and he stops, he's like no, he's like you gotta go in like this, and it's like boom 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 boom, and he's like but I need it to
Mhm.
be like boom, and like explains it, and like the band members are like oh shoot, like this, like there's like so much effort into
Yeah.
it for something that's gonna be 4 minutes and stick with someone forever. That's a fun question.
Yeah. Nice. Well, again, Rizzo and music is, you probably expected a lot of music questions to come up. So, um, the last question I have is, how the heck did you find a wife as cool as you are? Because I know we already talked about it, but I already had it written down. But
Yeah,
she's just the coolest thing, man.
I'm so lucky. Like, so it was like friends of the family, always around. I would always see her and be like, oh, she's like cool and pretty, but she's like loud. And like, I'm just trying to like play video games and not interact with girls because I'm freaking 13 years old and stuff like that. And just been around at things. And then it was actually like my dad and my grandmother, like she like broke up with her boyfriend, and my dad and my grandmother like they're like Rachel's single now, you like should hang out with her. And like I was working at gyms and my dad was like, hey, Rachel's in here visiting your cousin, like you should come in. I'm like at like the studio downtown, and like like I don't know, and I like blew off and missed all these things. And she was persistent for me because I mean, I'm me, so but like, but she, she was very like, and I'm so grateful for it because I was like, not thinking of dating or like it was just like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was just not the thing. We connect, and it is like we're just tight. Like it's just tight. It's so funny, like being so tight with someone that like not like nothing matters except for you and them, like that's the best. I don't have an answer. I don't know how I got it. Like I'm lucky I got an average wiener.
I can
Thanks for
attest
throwing
to
that in there. You guys did room together. Well, thanks for answering my questions.
Yeah, man, for sure.
I think we actually have some audio file of something that I said to Tom about his wiener during college.
I was like,
Tom, have it?
I was like,
That
you
was
said
your
it to me?
cue.
I was like, wait a second. Oh, I remember what you said. You said,
Let me pull on your dick a little while.
but then you were like,
That's the Holy Spirit. I don't spit it. Rag 'em, rag 'em.
I like forgot that I have this sitting right here.
It's so like before we get into these next set of questions, like I think to me, so for those of you listening and hearing this audio that does not sound like any of the four of us talking, Tom's got a little drop machine set up, and he's got some awesome, amazing drops. But like, what to me, what's kind of cool is like, they're all great, and I want people to hear them. But the fact that you haven't heard them shows something about 24 Down and the group that we are, that like Tom's completely forgot about this because we're just so involved in conversation and stuff like that. So I don't know, I thought that was
I
kind of
know.
cool.
I definitely could have been more creative with some of these drops, but I'm like, yeah, you guys are asking very good questions.
Hey, I do have one thing. I just really need to play here. Let's see. I don't know if this will happen. Okay, it's not going to happen, so I'm going to have to save it for the follow-up video. I apologize, but it's going to be really good, I promise.
All right. So these next set of questions here come from Matthias. First question is, what would you have done differently with your time at Valley Forge if you had the chance to change things?
I like this question a lot because, like, I think about, I try not to be like dwell on the past about things, but I'm also like, man, like I would was saying that, like, I wish I would have like learned music more and stuff. But like, I'm glad you got to ask this before because I wanted to think about it, and I wish I would have first pursued more courses and classes that I was interested in. Like I feel like they had a dope setup for like music and sound production and like all the stuff that they were doing up above on that like second floor above the like the piano room and stuff. I wish I would have been up there like learning the things that I'm doing now, making me like I would have been way more ahead of the game at that point if I would have known that. So I wish I would have like pursued more, especially because how worthless are college degrees. Like, I mean, like, unless you're like doing something so particular, like an engineer or something like that, I'm like, it's all nepotism and how you apply yourself anyway. So it's like, what, like, I wish I would have pursued more of my own interests and utilized that facility more because it didn't have a lot, but I feel like that stuff was kind of set up for you to do more stuff. The other thing I would have liked was, and I'm glad that we brought him up earlier because it ties in now, is I wish I would have picked the brains of those professors I liked more and done more like one-on-ones. Like I still think about Dipple, and I didn't want to be like, because people love Dipple and I think pursued him and try to talk to him, and I wasn't like pursuing anything like Christian related, so I didn't want to like be like, hey, I'm Tom from Buffalo. I know you know me and my family and you grew up with like I was hanging out with your kids and stuff, but like I didn't want to be, but I should have been like trying to like learn more from this dude. And I also think about Damstrom as well. That Dr. Damstrom dude was raw and like funny, and you could tell you how intelligent he was, but he was just like so like spot on with like his evaluations of things. And I just kind of wish I would have sat like with them and asked them more like life questions, not so much college questions, but like things that would help me grow as a person and as a Christian and stuff like that. Because I feel like they would have been more real than like the faux like student life, and like there ain't no like guidance counselors or anything there. It's just like I feel like I should have picked out those people. So that's what I would have done differently.
Yeah, that's good. Very good answer.
This is gonna be weird. Didn't Damstrom have like the hugest nuts? Yeah, he did.
Yes, he sure did.
Is he the one that had to use the?
He had to use a wheelchair, yeah.
Okay, the wheelchair. Okay.
I remember he had like a
But
cane and stuff
he
too.
was
Yeah.
he was a great man. I mean,
Yeah.
and probably is. I don't know if he's still alive or not, but
Yeah.
he was a really good professor, really good guy.
I remember him being like, because he did like a lot of like, I think it was psychology he taught or something like that. And I just remember him being like, yo, you're like, it's the same thing I thought about like in high school. I'm like, there was those handful of teachers that were like raw. And like, I'm like, your course is garbage, but like you're saying like, you're making it interesting to me. And I feel like he was on point. I definitely would have picked him up, but I think he probably had a ball with scratches. I feel like I remember him like
no, he definitely did. He definitely did.
He's packing.
Did you ever see that? I shouldn't say this. Did you ever see that South Park episode?
Yes.
Like, I'm pretty sure that was
we know
like,
what you're talking about.
I'm pretty sure that was made after like he was the inspiration for that.
The wheelbarrow. Like,
Yeah.
well, that was like,
That's why he had the wheelchair. That's yeah.
yeah. He was like, he kind of reminded me of Rodney Dangerfield too. I feel like he had to, like, yeah. Told my wife and she told me nothing. He was sweet.
We are literally by the minute ruining our chances of ever getting a Valley Forge faculty member on this podcast. But you know what? Who cares?
Yeah, it was a compliment.
Yeah.
Sure.
We wish you had your nuts.
So next question from Matthias. He wants you, and I'll just say it flat out, and you know how to do the rest. So he wants you to say whores.
I'm mad I wasn't able to add this to the soundboard as well, but I learned this from Danny DeVito on Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and he was always like, "Yeah, whore." your mother is a whore.
You kind of touched on this a little bit, actually more than a little bit. So like you can go into as much detail as you want, but I think you've kind of answered this already. If you want to add to it, you can. He wants to know your favorite part about fatherhood.
Yeah, so I mostly touched down on it, and I also just added, because obviously there's more stuff, and I thought of stuff after I answered Wolfie's question, but I was like, that bond you have with your kid is insane. Like, it's insane. Like, it's just such like a, it's like, for me, it's like you look at your connection with your spouse or with your significant other, and you're like, yo, this is tight. And it's like that, but just like, I don't want to say multiplied, but it might be like, 'cause it's just like, you're me, I'm you, and just whatever that like connection, like, especially when I'm like, if I'm like trying to like talk to him, or like not even discipline, but like get him to like look at my eyes, and he's like looking at me and like looking at my mouth and like trying to like evaluate what, like, just something about that connection is it's the greatest thing in the world. Like, and like, I know Wolfie said it, and I know we're not going to talk you guys into having kids, but it really like nothing else you do makes a difference, man. Like and it sucks, because it's like, they're not for everyone. They're like, people that not even like outside of the podcast. I know people that like just don't want to do it, and I'm just like, I hear you, but also like, what the hell else you doing, man? Like what you're gonna friggin' host a podcast? Like, what else are you gonna do?
That's awesome. This next question, I think honestly this is a very good question. He wants to know that if 24 Down came to visit Buffalo, where would you take us?
All right, so there's no wrong answer, because I think he's referring to a lot of like food references, because I'm actually surprised I'm not way more fat than I should, because it's just like food everywhere. Like, chains don't make it, because there's so many other spots to eat at, like Wild Wings are closing down, like all this stuff, like just because of the food. But food plays a big part. But what I wrote and what I thought about, and Andrew can touch down on the food because he's had some, you've had some, so you know about it. But the first thing I would do is collectively bring us all downtown, because there's like 10 to 15 breweries down there now. There's the waterfront with like big pedal boats and like all these things. There's like party boats and stuff like that out on the water you can take you on. So we would go out on the waterfront. There we would have our huge feast of our pizza, wings, subs, hoagies, beef on whack, which I don't know if you guys had the beef on whack when you came. It's roast beef sandwiches on something called a Kimmelweck roll, and it's like a seeded roll with like Kimmelweck seeds and salt on it. It's crazy. It's like another local thing, but we'd eat all that stuff. There's no wrong. Like the worst mom and pop pizza and wing place will have the best, like great pizza and wings. Like it's just like, oh, do you like a little extra sauce on yours? Go to this place. Do you like a little extra cheese on this? Go to this place and stuff. And the beer is just killing it. Like I think between the beer and the pizza, someone mentioned to me, and I don't know how true it is, but they said something that's about our water in our area and how it's like it's good for cooking and drinking and stuff like that. Something adds to it. So we do all that, and then I definitely would want to take everybody to a Bills game. Like even if you don't give a shit about football, like there's something about that experience. It's like it's not like going to an Eagles game or going to like other cities, because all the other teams are like, I don't know, I think Detroit's is like more downtown-ish area, right? Yeah. And so the Bills games are out in a suburb of Buffalo called Orchard Park. It's like a 25-minute drive, and it's just this huge like rural area, and they just let bedlam like happen. Like that's why our like fans are like known, because I think there's this freedom. Like they were talking about moving the Bills to Canada, and like Canadians that come to the games are like, nah, like we don't want that in Toronto. Like we want to come here and friggin' shotgun beers in our butthole. Like we want like it's just like when we go. I gave up my tickets for this year. Like I've had season tickets for 10 years now, but I gave them up just because I'm like, I got a kid. Like they're so exhausting. We like leave at 9 a.m. and grill and then like eat, and then I get home at like 5 or 6 and I'm just done for the day. I don't have it. And then like the COVID stuff, and then they said they can refund you your money, and then you can still have your seniority for next year. So like we're not doing it this year, but like that just experience is like nothing else. So I would want to take everybody to a Bills game, and we would definitely eat and drink like kings, and maybe put someone through a table. I don't do, like everybody I know doesn't do all the like the stereotype Bills Mafia stuff. Like we're all friggin' old balls, so we don't do any of that stuff. But that would be my trip. But no.
So
Put hat through a table.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm willing.
Yeah, you would want to.
Before I get to the next one from Matthias, I have like two little follow-up questions on that question. So this is very important to me. As we're doing all this stuff in Buffalo, non-alcoholic, what are we drinking?
Oh, you already know, baby. And so does Andrew Loganberry.
Oh,
I like, so when the reunion happens, I'll be bringing cases of Loganberry. I'll be bringing cases of Buffalo beers like that. I'll be blessing some food off.
I mean, I'm just going to say this, and I apologize to Andrew, and I apologize to anybody else. Like, as much Loganberry as you bring, I'm going to do my best to take every single drop of it. Like, I fell head over heels in love with Loganberry. It is unreal. Like, how do you explain it, Andrew? Like, I don't know.
It's like a unfizzy sweet soda, kind of, I guess, to me.
Yeah.
Like it's not juice. It's like a different flavor, but there's no carbonation.
It's just
Commercial right there.
Dude, it's literally like it changed my life. I don't know how else to say it. It changed my life. Like I have another buddy here in Michigan that grew up in Buffalo, and he goes back there. Yeah, and he goes back once or twice a year, and every time he goes back, he brings me like a case or two of Loganberry. Oh man, like Logan. So that's my one add-on. My second add-on, and get ready for your little drop machine there. if we were going to do fast food and there was a certain person on our 24 down crew that was with us that say perhaps maybe burnt our flag at one point, where's the first fast food place we're going to stop at?
Ironically, is what I had for dinner tonight because we were being very lazy. We ordered some Mighty Taco, and Mighty Taco is a fast food taco chain, very like Tex-Mex and straightforward, just like nothing. Not Taco Bell. Taco Bell's more like creative with their things, and this is just like hard shell, soft shell tacos or whatever. And one of the flag burners has some sweet stories from going there, and sometimes he likes to say,
What?
I think at some point I met
Oh, man.
some girl there named Steph for some reason. I don't remember.
yeah, I don't remember if that was you or not. Yeah.
All right. Anyway, Matthias, his last question here. Sorry, Alex.
What?
He says, "Show me on the doll where capitalism hurt you."
What is that? That was so much spit.
So I started to write this down, and then it started going really long, so I was like, I'm gonna stop. But I'm gonna initially I was like, I'll show you on the doll where on the heart of the doll where it represents my dad's triple bypass heart surgery, and if he didn't have health insurance, so that he would be dead and couldn't afford it, or we would be taking on his debt so he can do it. I'll show you on the neck that represents my wife's injury that put her out of work, and that because of insurance and its crooked games that these people are profiting. But then I was like, all right, this is the easiest way for me to sum it up. I would point to the doll on its back representing the working class that's holding up the ruling class so that the rich people become richer and richer, and then that we can die chasing this freedom that we want and think is a freedom of whatever, like friggin' buying our house and mowing our lawn and like so it's like we're programmed and we're so comfortable in this that we don't think that like change will ever happen. But then like I just read stories of like how much money like dudes like Bezos made during like a pandemic. Like I don't think people really put into perspective the disparity of wealth difference. Like it's like you think this thing is just like, well, like no, like millionaires are cool, like whatever, like you friggin' started a business, you made some millions, and you're living nice and you're taking care of your family and stuff. But it's like these like billionaire, like I know I looked up the math of it. So 1 million seconds is 11 days.
Yeah.
1 billion seconds is 31 years. So like just
Crazy.
compare that to like money, like what the hell do you need this for? No one needs all that. Just be comfortable. And I don't know. We're never gonna. We're so far gone where it's like I don't think there's gonna be a change. Like I don't know. I don't think there's gonna be a change. And it's like neither of these two politicians running are gonna make any difference for that working class. Like it's just gonna stay like this. And going back to me being a nihilist, typically I'd be like, oh, who gives a shit? I'm gonna die. Like, who cares? But now I'm like, oh, I got a kid who's got to like live in this and like live in a freaking burning city, a burning world, like with orange skies and stuff like that. I'm like want change, but that's where it's hurt me on the doll.
And now you know why I don't want to have kids.
See, and that's why I'll never judge or chastise for that, because it's just like it sucks.
Yeah, no, I mean, joking aside, like that, your answer, like a very like well thought out, sound answer for a question that like Matthias meant half as a joke, half as a throwaway, but like it shows your passion in that kind of thing. And like you bring up, I'm not going to like sugarcoat things. I'm not like, especially after a few Labats, like I'm not going to be great at math, and I'm probably going to throw out a stat that's not even incorrect. But like when you bring up like the whole like Amazon and Bezos and everything like that, like legit, like I'm just going to throw this out there. I mean, the guy probably, especially during pandemic season, the guy probably made more in 5 minutes than what I'm going to make in my entire lifetime, you know, like at any given time.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just like, and that's mind-boggling, you know.
Yeah, man. And just like knowing that there's like a single mother of 4 that's like just got fired from her job and because COVID layoffs and not getting any type of like assistance. And like I know like you don't want to like lean on the government, but like there should like the government is keeping these people, like these laws are set to keep these people comfortable and like
Right.
being able to do things. And like Amazon can't start a union, they're like they're busting union. And like I just like what I think really would warn on me was like working all these friggin' like blue collar jobs just getting shit on forever. And I'm just like, man, like I never thought about like everybody says like the narrative like, well, just pull yourself up by the bootstraps and you can become whatever you want. I'm like, no, like if your name is Latrell, they're gonna see Latrell and Matt Smith on a friggin' application and they're automatic like the system's so busted and jacked up. And that's why I was just like, bring power to the friggin' to the lower middle class, like let it be a true democracy. Let these people have say in these things. That's why I'm like, some unions are trash. Like the police unions garbage. There's definitely unions that are like abusing things, but I'm like, for the most part, like they're fighting for equality in this gap, and like this is something I'm for. But yeah, I'm glad Matthias asked that. We text often about that stuff, and I know he's trying to get me riled up.
For sure. I think Wolfie's up at this point.
So these next questions come from Francis. So you touched on the search on before, but I think this was kind of like Andrew's question. But what started your love for hip hop and rapping?
This was sweet because it kind of got me like writing and thinking about more specifics of hip hop and rapping. And I think what it was there's 3 hip hop albums that really did it for me. First one was Nas's Illmatic. Second one was Wu-Tang, Enter the Wu-Tang.
Yep.
And the third one was The Roots, Do You Want More? Like
Yeah.
those 3 just like, they really like, they just like open my ears to like dope lyricism, raw production, originality, like no flash. Like I was hearing those, like I remember like hearing Nas's Illmatic like when like Jay-Z was super popular. Not to even discredit Jay-Z because I think he's pretty solid, but like it was nice hearing the contrast of like flash and pizzazz and then seeing it in like yo, this is like friggin' like poetry, like and I always like loved poetry, like friggin' Robert Frost and like all this like Edgar Allan Poe. I remember actually my friend Pat, the other half of 25 Metro, our one friend Morris was in college at Toronto, and he went out to Toronto and he made a beat and he rapped Edgar Allan Poe to like a beat that he made, and that was such a good like tie-in because it was just like the cadence is so raw and like I always loved that. And then just those 3 albums really like sparked it off, and I was like, man,
it's awesome.
I want to make music and rap.
So I have to say 2 things with that. I like, again, and I know Hat and Andrew talked about it, like underground like hip hop, like you got me into. I didn't, not until recently, and I know we texted about this, did I get into Wu-Tang Clan. But without a doubt, I would say my favorite rappers are MF Doom and Black Thought from the Roots.
He's incredible.
And like you said, just the simplicity, not the flashiness of it. The other thing I had, and I had like, this is just completely random, ties into this. In 9th grade, me and this kid Tang, who was Cambodian, rapped Edgar Allan Poe's "The Raven."
I think that's what he did.
The Big Pimpin', though.
Oh,
yeah. And I grew up in the suburbs, so like our English teacher made us do it for every freaking one of her English classes. Like we thought we were like the coolest thing.
You could have called yourself Wolf Tang. Wait, how does the Raven start? Because I was trying to think of it to like wrap
Yo,
up.
I could tell you. I wish we had Big Pimpin' in the background here. It's Once Upon a Midnight Jury, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
good. That
You
that's
could
like
do it. You could do it, man.
he was spitting bars, man. They're gonna post spitting bars.
Well, I was doing it in ninth grade, so.
So, so I don't mean to cut like the questions off here or whatever, but like that completely reminded me something that like Andrew and Tom, I want to ask you if you guys remember this or not. At some point during our college career, there was a test that we had to study for, and we had to learn the Apostles' Creed, and we made a rap of the Apostles' Creed. And that's how we, like, at least for me, like that's how I remembered it, was because the three of us made, I think it was Jigsaw, The Apprentice, and Rizzo. We made the Apostles' Creed rap. Literally, like word for word, did it all. I don't know if that even exists anymore, but like to this day, I could probably tell you part of the Apostles' Creed because of that, like that rap that we made.
Definitely remember that faint. Like I remember like trying to get the rhythm of that for sure. That's so
Was that for AG Doctrine? Is that
Think so.
sense.
I think so. I just remember the three of us like, okay, we have to memorize this. What's the best way to memorize this?
wow?
And we just Tom made us a beat, and then the three of us like split up each little bit of a portion or whatever, and just kind of went through it.
It's too funny.
We'll have to the Apprentice, Jigsaw, and Rizzo will put together AG Doctrine.
Yeah, just do it again.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a Zoom course.
So Francis, another question he had.
And Wolfie, I apologize.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Again, I'm interrupting again. Before you ask this question, I just have to play something really quick.
Oh yeah, do it.
Of course, it's not going to work now. Let me try one more time. Here we go.
Oh, is that a spider barking?
A barking spider in this podcast.
So Francis asked, did you teach your son how to fart like that?
This he learned on his own. It came naturally as it should. Because like I'm just like even like when they're babies and you got to do like the bicycle legs to like get the gas out, like and like you push them in. He was like ripping. I'm like, bro, like you sound like it's deep and bellowing. I'm like, how is your butt producing that? And now he can fart on command now, man. Like I'll be like, Thomas, did you fart? And like I'm like impressed. I can't even fart on command. But yeah, he's got it all natural. And I'm just gonna say it's not only from his dad. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Ooh. Oh shoot.
Wow.
So last question from Francis. He also says, love you, brother.
Love you too, man.
So last question. Everyone's back at 24 down for one day. What's the one thing you choose to do with everybody? This one's kind of reoccurring, and I think it's one of my favorites to hear.
Yeah, that would be a good ask everyone question. I had to think about this one as well, and I wrote some stuff to this. But it would either be two things. First one, and maybe we could just do this all in one night. First one would be to just get everybody together. Everybody, I mean, we were always usually together, but guys and gals and everybody, and just like hang in the lounge and mess around on the pool table and just congregate and socialize like we were best at, and just be in each other's like present. Like that's just the purest thing about it, is like there was no need for activity because we entertained ourselves. Like it was just like it was so natural and fun, and just to have everybody together, and just to be like being able to congregate and hang and joke and clown on each other would be the best, and that would be the one thing. But that could be maybe be the nightcap, because the other thing I wrote down was get however many cars deep that we would normally have, roll out to Sonic, get some big limeades, and
There you go.
get all our food. And then I just remember playing ultimate frisbee with everybody, and I would want to do that again. Like that was so, because it's such like a, you don't need to be an athlete game, and kind of just have fun, and it's not competitive at all. And I think that would be a fun thing to get everybody to do. That'd be my
Good
thing.
answer.
All right, so I have the next set of questions for you, and they're from Big Daddy. So he's there. First of all, I'll start off reading. He said, those are some juicy, lovely pep nips. So he wanted to let you know that.
Why are they juicy?
Juicy.
I'm just reading what he sent me. Okay,
Such a tough adjective. Like, it really makes me not like my nipples. It's funny.
At least they provide sustenance, apparently.
What?
Okay, so his first question is, can you do some beatboxing?
So I was laughing thinking about this. Yes, I'll do some beatboxing in just 1 second. But I remember whenever Rick would ask me to beatbox, he would always reference, I think it was Men in Black. And he's like, can you do that beatbox where you're like, boomananga, boomananga, boomananga? It's the funniest way to say beatboxing. But I think what he was referring to is there was a scene in it, and I think it was Biz Marquee, and he beatboxed, and he's like, boom. And he was like, I think that's where the boomananga come from. But yes, I love beatboxing for Big Daddy.
Nice. And then he said, this one's recurring also. He said, what is your favorite Big Daddy moment?
Oh yeah, I love the Big Daddy one. So there was I was trying to again, I think it was Bowden who mentioned I don't know if it was Bowden or you, Wolfie. It was I wish we were on this podcast 5 years ago or 7 years ago, because then yeah, because I was memories would be so much fresher than what they are. But so it's really racking. But some of the things that
that doesn't help.
Yeah, there was two things that stuck out to me with Big Daddy. Is I don't know, he started it and he brought it up on his podcast with me and him, but he would sing this White Snake 80s hairband song, and he would just be down the hallway and he'd be like, wait, not a chance to love you, wait. And I just in his friggin' echoing voice carrying out through across the campus singing that. And I always thought that was the funniest thing, and you sing it. Or the other thing that I always remember of him is him talking about getting his tattoo and explaining his tattoo of what he wanted to get, and explaining I think it was Jonah, the story of Jonah, I'm pretty sure. And he's explaining the scene and all this stuff, and he's like, and then there would just be Jonah looking through the storm and his eyes just peering at you. And the way that he explained that was I felt a good representation of him as a person. He was super passionate. There was he's a big dude, but his heart was just as big as his personality and his body. And he's just filled with so much love and passion. I remember him explaining that tattoo to me in his room, and talking about how tattoos were whatever looked down upon at Valley Forge. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And I just remember that pretty vividly, and that was a good Big Daddy memory. And obviously his friggin' laughing.
Yeah, it's classic.
Yeah. It's great. I miss that dude. Miss all the people I can't see in real life anymore.
All right, so these next set of questions here, they're from Gene, and before I get into them, I'm gonna call Gene out here right now on the podcast, and I want everybody listening to bully him into doing an episode because I've been trying to get him on since like the second or third week I've been trying to get him on, and he just won't do it. So everybody listening, get a hold of Gene, tell him to get his ass on here because we need to do this episode with him.
Yeah, Gene, come on.
So Gene says, Rizzo, I know you were into the local hip hop scene in Buffalo, always getting on stage and getting creative. So before the pandemic, was this still something you did after getting married and having your boy?
So not so much like not so much getting on stage, like even like with this, like I know I probably seem comfortable and stuff, but like I hate talking about myself. Like this is like I felt that like on stage, like I felt like even going to like hip hop shows and stuff, I'm like, you're like just rapping at me, where it kind of like my taste kind of switched over into just enjoying the music of it, like personally being able to sit down or putting it in my car and like listening with headphones on, and like so I kind of stepped away from it. I would write here and there. I still write here and there. Like we're trying to do some stuff, but like it takes me forever to like write now. I think it's just because it's like I don't want to be associated with rap so much. Like, and it's not, I know that there's like a separation of like, I'm not obviously not like a mumble rapper, but it's just like, I think there was like some turning points where like I was at like a friend's wedding and one of like the cousins was like, "Oh, Tommy knows how to rap. Tommy, come rap about them getting married and stuff." And I'm just like, no, like no, I don't want. And I just remember like saying no and then being disappointed. And I was like, I don't want to be like known as like a rapper, like or whatever. I like the behind the scenes. I like taking 6 months to write a verse and making sure it's perfect just so I can play it and people can listen to it that way. So not so much like not so much on stage. Like it would really be a big ask if I was to rap on stage or like do a performance. The only way that I feel like it would happen, and this has kind of been talked about within the past year, is my friends in Purgatory Kings. We text daily, just sending poop memes to each other, but we were talking about doing a reunion show, but not making it like a concert. Like we would have make it a play and like have acts and like have different segments and bring out multiple bands and like have it like it would have to be like a performance opposed to like a thing. But
Right.
not so much anymore. The kid didn't change it. The kid can come to the shows if I was still doing it. I don't care, but yeah, not so much anymore.
Nice. So this actually this is kind of a good follow up to that. This question comes from Andrew. Can you please do a rap right now at this exact moment?
Andrew
Kindler asked that. He said, "Can you rap right now on the spot?"
Yeah, I've got that in my notes as well.
I don't know this Andrew Kindler you speak of.
Oh man, what a shitty hype man!
I mean, yeah.
Oh,
that would be funny.
Oh, that was good. No, again, that speaks to who you are as a person, Rizzo. Like, it's not, hip hop raps. I feel, obviously a lot of it's pride and ego, and that's not who you are as a person, right? So,
yeah,
I think that reads into you well, man.
This is it's a hobby. And to be honest, I'm much more love you could see my friggin' record. Like I love
man.
making stuff, like building something and making music. So quick teaser is I have a few projects lined up production wise. One of them is done.
Nice.
Another one is we just started on, and then another one is kind of like being talked about, and those will be out shortly. And I'm so excited to share it with you guys because it's me and my friend, and I'm so proud of we get we get geeked out. We come over. He comes over. We get up every Thursday. We both he's got 3 kids, like 2 in college, and we get up on Thursdays from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. That's it every week, and we made albums made music, and it's so good. It's so good. It's one of the few things where I'm man, I'm pumped for people to hear it, and it's coming out soon. So hopefully
Can't wait.
I'll be able to share that with you guys soon.
Yeah, can't wait. No, I mean, it's just clearly you have a love for the art versus a love for yourself, and so it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to hear it. So
Sweet. I'm excited to share.
So the actual questions I have next are from D-Shat,
Nice.
the one and only, actually one and only. So he said, other than 24 Down, what was your greatest takeaway from Valley Forge?
I didn't get these ahead of time, so I'm gonna do a little pause and think about them first. Other than 24, I think it was. I think it was the responsibility factor of being and it wasn't a ton, but it was enough to be oh, I'm living in a dorm. I'm living with people I don't know. I have to I had to have saved money, and I have to spend money accordingly, and I have to get this much it brought a good responsibility factor for as irresponsible as we were. It kind of made me feel like I needed to mature more, and I think that's probably one of the biggest things that taken away. And I would really yeah, I would say that. I would say that. If I say anything else, I'm gonna go off of what I'm talking about. But yeah, I think that was probably the biggest takeaway. It really brought a maturity level to me that I did not have at all.
Yeah, I hope I get that someday.
I hope you do too.
Yeah. That's a very good answer. So second question he had is, in your rapping life, what has been your biggest rap highlight?
All right.
I mean, I could probably answer it for you.
I want to hear yours because I think
Is it winning the contest?
No.
It was giving you all a taste of my medicine.
No, that's up there, but no. It's got to be when you were featured on a track with Jigsaw and The Apprentice, I would think.
Oh, yeah.
I totally agree.
True.
The
That was an
Apprentice
RJD
talked to me
TV.
and said he was so proud of that.
Wasn't it when Chaz invited you up to Buddha's room to lay some lines on that beat, man?
It really did not get any better than that. I peaked there. So apart from those amazing experiences, I think we opened up for some sweet stuff, and the shows that I was mentioning when we first found that vault and started throwing, those are very much up there. But me and my friend Pat threw a show with 25 Metro at a friend of ours. She does she cuts steel and builds these huge steel art pieces or whatever, and she had an art gallery, and we threw a show at the art gallery, and it was so well done. And so we had a jazz trio open, we had my one friend open up follow making beats, and then we went on. And I think I just will forever remember this situation is we had all these artists set up their art and sell art around it. It was just such a good gig. But I remember that my friends were working the gate, and then this older couple rolls up, and they're what's going on here? They're like, my friends are like, it's $10 or whatever is music. All right, here's a cup for the keg or whatever. And they're like, I'm not paying to come here. Like, they're like, what? They're like, we own the place. And like, so the owners of the art gallery came, and we're performing our 25 Metro set, and like the husband and wife are like this, maybe like 50s, late 40s, 50s, white couple. And they're just like dancing on the front to us, rapping and stuff like that. And like, just like loving this whole experience. And I was just like, I remember like we're like kicking verses about friggin' being broke at a bus stop. And like this couple's just dancing, and there's like pictures of it and stuff. And I was like, this was like such a cool experience. And ironically, with the money that was made from it is what paid for this microphone. We like, my friends, me and my friend who did it, and my other friend Colette, threw in together and got this blue mic. But that was such a fun experience. It was just like weird seeing like bougie white people and like coming up to us after, like, you guys are excellent. That was so fun, such a cool experience. I was like, it was a really cool time.
That's a good story. So last question D-Chat had, and, let me get back to it here.
And
He says, do you remember when I almost fell through your ceiling? How I met you guys? And do you remember your first impression of me?
So I don't like, was D-Shed falling through the ceiling the same? Was this a different ceiling collapse, or was this the same ceiling collapse?
This is 117. So this was, I want to say it was before you and I lived together, because it was when you were.
Yeah, it would have been.
Because you lived in 117 with Kindler and the English twins, right? And maybe Zach too. Was there whatever the combination was?
Yeah, no, the actual ceiling collapse was during night, like in the middle of the night. This was like,
he didn't really come through the ceiling. So I can tell you when D-Shat's freshman year was when he lived with Josh Davies. And they lived in that room right above 117. Because the year after that, I think they moved across the hall, and then we moved downstairs.
Man, I don't remember. That's bad. I don't remember. I remember first impressions of D-Shat, though. I can definitely answer that. It was
tell us about that.
Like, it's funny. He's the type of kid that's like, you're like, yo, you're like too cool to be this nice. Like you're a skater. You're like a friggin' like hopeless romantic poet kind of kid. Like you're like, why are you this nice? Like you could do whatever. And like, I just remember like seeing him skate, like talking to him outside, and it's like, yeah, brother, I just love him, man. Like deep V-neck shirt, like hanging out, like, and I just remember being really impressed and like feeling super like comfortable and like this dude. And I feel like it's rare seeing this, but I feel like people don't listen well, and like I feel like he's someone that is absolutely listening to everything you're saying, and like so selfless. And like I just remember like whenever you experience that with someone, I just remember experiencing that with him. I'm just like, man, you're just a genuine dude. Like you're a pure soul. And I remember I have notes of when I was trying to think of things to write down or remember, but I remember with D-Shat memories, couple quick ones is like skating with him and him being nice at it and me being a mess. I remember me landing a heel flip or a kick flip and snapping his board completely in half because I'm a fat mess. And I remember like that. And then he named, I don't know if you guys remember my car, that old school, I had that 1976 Pontiac car, and he dubbed it and gave it such a great name, which I would not expect from him as well with this name, but he named it Cheap Sex for Free, and it was the best. It was the best name, and I sold it with like a few years back, and I was like, man, like that was a great car. And
Dude, I loved that car. I completely forgot about that, but I loved that car.
yeah, because you rolled up with us to Buffalo in it. I think with like, was that one with Murph and Alex? Like yeah.
Yeah, I think it was me, you, Murph, Alex, Matthias.
Yeah.
That might have been the crew right there.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. That's funny, yo. Yeah.
I freestyled when you got suspended. I said about something about the Pontiac. I said it's parked out outside in the stone parking lot, and Tom likes to drink a lot.
What was that? Right. Was that the freestyle that we on the YouTube we just discovered recently? Was that what it was from?
No, this one was one that Andrew Blackwell recorded.
Okay.
And I remember I was doing it, and then they added some stuff. I can't remember.
Someone Pontiac. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
because I remember the line.
Or I said he likes to drink a lot. That's why he got kicked out of school for a while. Sorry, Tom. This is a real freestyle.
I got rid of my soundboard, but I was going to play the horns. That was funny. Yeah, I love you, D-Shat. Those are fun times, man.
That's good. Well, I actually found video, but I'll play some sound. But I actually found some sound from your best lines ever at a show actually that you did. I actually found it on my phone, so I'm gonna try this, see if it works. If not, it happens. But here we go. Ready? Let's see if this works. 1 second, it's thinking here.
Ever so bright, it's magenta, the pretender like heartbreaker. I be the heart maker, the dark shaker. No, I won't steal the mic. These kids are nasty. So this is for these gentlemen. Education.
Hottest lines ever.
You know what's crazy about that is like, so that video started off with just Andrew and I wanting to be our stupid little characters, and Blackwell was there and he did his little thing, and like I think if I remember correctly, Tom literally didn't want to be a part of like rapping. He just wanted to like sit there and do the beat. Like, I'll take care of the beat, and we kind of like mid video forced him to come up there and blew us all out of the water. Yeah. We should have let him just continue and keep going, because like that, none of that was planned. None of that was like, he just literally on the spot gets up there and just like, I mean, it makes the rest of the video just look.
Well, Rizzo killed it, but I think one of the funniest parts was, you can't really hear it, but Hatmaker Jigsaw looks over and he goes, "Wow, this guy's good."
Isn't that a staple on all great rap tracks?
Exactly.
Oh, this guy's good.
Oh no, not another one. That's funny. Yeah, that sounds right with me not wanting to do it. And I just remember you guys loving that. That's the dude who made that beat's name is RJD2, and that song's called The Horror. And I just remember you guys like love it. I think that beat might have like inspired the murder raps that you guys were kicking.
What was it? What was the name again?
RJD2. It's called The Horror.
Okay.
He still makes stuff. He's good, man.
Yeah, he's really good.
All right, I have the last set of questions. This has been the longest set of questions I think we've ever done.
Seriously.
Wow.
We're like, yeah, thanks.
What?
All right, these come from. It's a classic. These come from James, so he gets the last set.
All right, good seeing you guys. Have a good night.
Thanks for coming on, Tom.
Yeah.
His first question is, he said, "Who is your favorite diabetic to make fun of?"
I want to say my mom, but I guess I will say James.
I was really wishing you knew another diabetic off the top of your head.
My mom's late stage though, so she doesn't count. I feel like she's not.
I I was thinking of the guy from the commercials with like the big mustache, the
He died this
diabetes
year.
guys.
He just died.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
died like a couple weeks ago.
Wilford Brimley.
Diabetes.
Yeah.
James is still
Diabetes.
my favorite too, though.
Well, now James can be the spokesperson.
So it's funny because it's like no one should be making fun of anyone for being diabetic unless you're James Majeski. there shouldn't ever be someone being made fun of for that. But James, you fit that role, you skinny bastard.
If anybody lacks sugar and sweetness, it's James.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
All right, you kind of answered a lot of this, but he said, "How did you end up going to VFCC?"
Yeah, same thing. Just
Yeah.
separation and getting a change of path, and yeah, like I don't really. So you mentioned Dippled, and I was like trying to think if like he had to have had not say, but he had to have been like my parents being like, yeah, like Dave Dippled went to teach there. You should check it out. So I think it was just a number of those things, but. I don't know, because if I didn't, I might be selling crack right now.
You got any rock?
Bring it right back.
All right, his third question is favorite thing to do on the front steps of 24 Down. We all know the famous stoop.
Man, and funny enough is I like in my notes of things, I have this, and this is always going to be a highlight for me, and it was an experience with James, is him having his acoustic guitar out there and during breakaway and him just playing and us just freestyle singing, making fun of these children as they walk by. Like that was the best. Yeah, I feel like you were involved too, Wolfie.
Oh,
like,
I was.
Yeah,
and I forgot about it completely till now.
So good because he just plays those nice like 3 chords that you could just do whatever to and just dookie on these kids, and they're we might have actually helped some kids out by deterring them from going to school. yeah. That might have been my favorite.
Forgot about that.
Man, yeah, that was funny.
Nice. Well, the last thing he says is, oh no, sorry, he has one more question. He said, "How many inches wide are those nips?"
What's funny is I have a rule. This is happening.
Yes.
So while Tom goes and grabs this ruler, no, this is legit. Those of you listening to the podcast, Tom literally just walked off camera.
This is probably actually going to be taken down from YouTube, not for nudity.
Okay. Tom actually just walked across his nipple.
Hold on. So hold on. Let's do something a little interesting here, Tom. Before maybe you already measured. Before you give us the answer, you want to do a little like wager here, Andrew and Wolfie, like just a friendly wager.
Listen. I couldn't find my measuring tape is upstairs. I for all my tools are down here because I just hung some shelves the other day, and everything was down here except for my measuring tape, and I'm mad about it because I would.
And you are so domesticated these days.
The ruler was there, but we need a yardstick.
Here's a picture of it. Yeah. So all right. So for the follow up, my nips will after this podcast, and whoever gets it right doesn't win anything, but you just know the size of my nip. So
hey, you know what? No, I'm gonna one up this. I'm gonna one up this for everybody.
All
right. So and I'm gonna need people to remind me of this because it'll be a while before the follow up happens. So those of you listening, or if the 3 of you guys here, try and remind me of this. Legit, I want what do we say, like centimeter? We'll go centimeters because that'll be the most accurate.
Yeah, sure.
Whoever can come the closest without going over, I will buy and ship out a 24 Down podcast shirt too.
Oh, I love it.
That's good.
I love it.
Everybody, not just us. Everybody.
Yes, everybody. If you're
ask
listening,
your parents, ask your grandparents.
Yes.
How big are Tom's nips?
What?
All right, and also just so this is gonna be fair, this isn't gonna be like like now would have been a good time to measure my nips because I'm warm and they're nice and flat and got a good circumference going. So they're gonna be warm nips, no cold nips to shrink it down a little.
We only want the truth.
I just want to plug my new podcast called the Flat Nip Society.
I was waiting for time to drop that.
That was perfect.
Wait, there's been nothing that's come up. I was like oh, maybe a ghost story will come up tonight, maybe something. Oh, thank you for dropping that because I needed
Flat Nip Society. That was it. Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Well, last thing he says, James says, is all jokes aside, love you, man, and happy we reconnect. And just like always, I want to make fun of his English and say that's not how you write a sentence. And happy we reconnect is not grammar. So,
at least Baldwin's doing good. These Jersey people aren't doing any good favors. Like at least Baldwin's well spoken and.
To be fair, I think somebody brought up the point that Baldwin was not actually born in Jersey, so I think he's got that exemption.
What?
You know?
Yeah. I didn't know that.
I swear somebody said that. Be wrong.
So funny, man. So maybe that's it. All right.
it must be. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm so glad we were all reconnected too, James. Everyone that we've been talking to and stuff like that. I definitely thought about James probably the most because I was not on Facebook. There was no real way for me to connect with him, and I think Wolfie we were on Instagram for a minute. There was but I wasn't talking to him at all. And I text everybody else and I'm friends with Instagram. So I was really excited for James. I'm really excited for John Simmons too. Watching those what videos, I forgot that he was just he was in I know he came a little later, but I was man, he was in it. He was yeah. So I'm glad that this has all been happening.
Y'all see this umbrella here? Look what this umbrella does.
What?
So good.
That's awesome, man. There's so much that was brought up during this question segment, Tom. I know if you've got some other stories that you want to get into, we'll let you do that. The only other thing that just randomly popped up in my head during this whole thing, during the questions, you talked about, it was during D-Chat's questions, and you talked about skateboarding. One of my favorite memories from college and 24 Down, and I don't think this has been brought up on the podcast yet, is do you remember when we decided to do a music video for Enrique Iglesias' Ping Pong song, and we had our Heelys and we were heeling down the hall and laying on the pool table on the back porch and everything? Do you remember this?
I remember those actions, but I don't remember that we were shooting a music video.
No, we legit had, we made a music video. We had the thick sunglasses that basically were goggles, and had our button-up shirts unbuttoned and heeling down the hall. And I think at one point I'm pretty sure I remember you laying on the pool table with the triangle
I remember that.
So and legit we tried to make a music video of this whole thing, and I think that that footage is lost. But when
how sad.
When D-Chat brought up the skateboarding stuff, for whatever reason, it made me think of the heeling stuff like that. And it's just, there's so many little things that happen during 24 Down that just you tell somebody that wasn't there, that didn't experience this, and they'd be like, that just sounds really stupid. But for us, it's oh my God, yeah, I do remember that. That was such a good,
Yeah.
So
I remember the Heelys. What I think about is me trying to learn how to do it and just busting my shit in that long hallway to the cafeteria and getting the wind knocked out of me because my feet fly straight up. I was I'm way too fat to be using Heelys. It was so bad. So
I was so jealous because Hat and you both had Heelys, and I couldn't afford them, and I was so sad. I wanted them so bad.
you should have had them instead of me.
Matthias said that I would Healy naked, and I never did. He said that on his podcast, and I was like, nah, I could never afford them.
No, that was
All
Hat.
right.
Hat did
Yeah,
that.
I
I
definitely.
know, but Matthias threw me into it, and I was like, no.
Huh.
I mean, I guarantee I was naked, but never with Heelys.
Just didn't have the Heelys on your feet.
Yeah.
That's all.
What?
It's funny. Yeah, there are so many like. So I was also thinking about just random spots. Like, wasn't there like weird like it's not weird, but cabin-esque things towards the back that had like a fire pit? Didn't we used to like hang out but like
Mhm.
towards the back of campus? Like, yeah, I remember like hanging like, and I don't know why we did it or what was happening there, if it was for anything, but like I don't even remember if that was like a part of the school or not. Like
We would have like random birthday
It
parties
was.
for people and stuff. We'd go back there and just have a
Yeah.
cake, and we would hang out. And
that was
They
like
had-
by the baseball stuff, right?
They had the PYMCA. I think it was PYMCA or PYMC, whatever. It was the little kids football field,
Hmm.
and that's where it was in the back of campus. There was a basketball court or a few outdoor basketball courts in front of that.
Yeah.
There was a playground off to the side of that, and then there were some just empty pavilions. So it was like built as a park. Like I don't think it was necessarily Valley Forge related, but I'm
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
they own the property.
Yeah.
I see.
But yeah, there was like 2 or 3 pavilions, and I remember there was quite a few times we did like like was said a birthday party back there, or
well, back behind the
bonfire.
pavilions was where we slid down the hill when it was
And-
icy, right?
yes, and
Yeah.
left
Okay.
James to die.
Yeah. I didn't know we did that either. Actually,
I
but-
completely forgot about that.
Yeah, I
yeah.
don't-
That's funny.
Huh.
Yeah. I was like, that's why like if a reunion or when a reunion happens, it's like it would be cool to be in that area just because like I need, it's the same reason why I'd want to see like my grammar school I went to and my high school and stuff. Like I want to be in that setting to invoke those memories again. And like it's great. They're probably like we would probably get a whole new slew of podcasts just from like seeing those buildings again and being
Oh, for
in-
sure. Yeah,
Just
and
new memories.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
yeah, for sure, new memories too. And I think, I mean, off the top of my head, I know 3 names that I will leave unnamed that technically are not even allowed back on campus. But guess what? Like I'm one of those 3 names, and I've been back on campus since I've been not allowed
Yeah.
on campus. So like, I mean, it's 10, 12, 15 years later. What are they gonna do? Like,
Yeah,
it's not like we're hanging out there the whole time. But like, yeah, I think, like you said, when a reunion happens, we have to, like, as a group, go back, stand
Yeah.
outside 24,
yeah.
like walk around campus and things like that.
Friggin' Dr. Mortenson's gonna be out in the woods like Slender Man. Like,
Oh God,
like-
I hope he is.
So looking at Phoenixville stuff or whatever, who was saying that they were looking at? Were you saying you were looking at hotels or?
Yeah, there's one like there's literally like one hotel in Phoenix. Of
course.
And it's not like a big hotel, but like I mean, I think granted, I emailed them a few weeks ago and I still haven't heard back from them. So who knows? But like it would be something that would be satisfactory for like our size group. Like they probably have 20 to 30 rooms,
Yeah.
I think I know which hotel it is.
It's literally
It's like right in the center of
Yes.
downtown. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I remember that place.
That's cool.
But we don't
Yeah.
have to worry about the
Valley
condition.
Forge is my sister and brother-in-law live in Valley Forge, and it's like they live like right on the edge of the park in the KOP area, and the entire area is just blowing up. Like I think that's why Phoenixville is really becoming what it's become. So
Yeah, it seemed like
we could very easily do it.
that's what I thought because their website, like, they're showing like festivals going on and stuff like that, like all these things. That's cool. It's what like
Yeah.
what a random. Pennsylvania's strange to me. There was like not the layout of it and not the people, but just like there's like a weird like not like I don't know. It's very like old timey, but still like new. Like I haven't spent enough time other than school there. Like I feel like it's so like versatile of like what
Yeah.
Pennsylvania offers.
It's so hats shaped like this, right? This Pennsylvania shaped like this.
Yeah, that's I didn't even think of
But it's
that.
got Pennsatucky's like it's like a T, right? So it's got like Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, even like Harrisburg, and the rest is like backwoods country. I mean, New York's the same way, right? You got New York City, you got
Yeah,
Buffalo,
yeah.
Syracuse, but then you've just got like there's parts of New York that's like freaking like middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I would definitely like to go back to that area and see what's up. Get some freaking Ritas or whatever that place was called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, like a Rita's opened up here in Michigan. Literally, like just one, and it's literally owned by the same company in Pennsylvania. Like they just like
Ah.
randomly opened one in Michigan. I was telling my wife, I was like, we have to go here. Just trust me, we have to go here.
Yeah.
So what was the other one that was like
Petrucci's.
Petrucci's?
Yeah, Petrucci's.
Yeah.
That was locally owned. Yeah.
I see. I see. I think I liked their custard more if I was honest.
Yeah. Well, are there any memories or stories you want to get into?
I was looking at the thing and like I'm pretty late in being on this, so like I was like writing notes, listening to stuff, but it's kind of like nothing comes out. The one thing I wanted to bring up with Gene's questions, I wanted to bring up this memory with Gene is like playing. I remember those dodgeball games, and I like there's a few memories that are like super precise and vivid in my mind, and I remember the one dodgeball went like when we had like the black and white jerseys and stuff like that, and I remember Gene clutching the win, and like someone threw a ball at him, he caught it with one hand, and someone threw another ball and caught it with the other hand, and then like that was to seal the win. And I just like remember like time slowing down, like us running up to him, like yeah, like picking him up and lifting him and stuff. I was like, I wanted to bring that up with his because like I feel like that was definitely something that stuck out. And then other than that, I mean, I will save what else I got written down because it's kind of all over the place. Also, this is one thing I wanted to ask because Matt was on last, and I guess this will tie in. Did people at Bongiorno with air conditioning and that high class bourgeois living, were they paying the same?
100% they were paying the
tuition?
same. Yes.
What is that? What
Yeah.
is that?
No, they paid more.
No,
paid
they
more
did
for
not.
room and board. Yeah, they
There's
did.
no way. There's no
I can
way.
tell you they did because when I had my
Okay, what-
private room with bathroom and 24 up, I did pay more.
Okay, so how much more are we talking?
Not enough.
Exactly. Like I guarantee you my chapel fines were more than the difference of what they paid versus me tuition wise.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I know. I was thinking about that. I was like, we just did not have. I'm a sweaty mess. I sweat when I sleep. I'm like, I was probably sweating like crazy back then. I didn't even think about that.
So I have to tell you guys this because I think Hat, you'll enjoy this, and Tom, you'll enjoy this. Actually, I don't think anybody. No, I guess Phil. So Phil was kicked out of Valley Forge. The rest of us, or some of us, left. But Bongiorno. So my wife actually works for the man that Bongiorno Hall was named after, and this is a great, maybe not well known fact. Back in the day, he was actually kicked out of Valley Forge because he got married. Because it was like the 1950s or 60s. But Bongiorno Hall is named after somebody who was kicked out of Valley Forge. So, not that you were kicked out, but someday there might be a hat maker hall. There might be a Rizzo hall. There might be a Majetsky, I don't know.
Ramp.
Signpost. Yeah, that's
Majetsky first aid kit.
Yeah.
Funny.
Anyway, sorry. My wife told me that because it's funny the tie she has to Valley Forge, and I was like, "Are you serious? He was kicked out of Valley Forge?" Like,
yeah. So who do we got to bully next to get on stuff?
Like I said, I want Gene on this podcast.
I already
Yeah.
messaged him. I already started bullying him during this.
Coddle.
I'm
We
gonna
need
do it
Coddle
after.
too.
Coddle, we need the sponsorship. You know,
Yeah, we need
gotta,
some free
gotta get the studio nice. Got to get like
Yeah.
better quality T-shirts and everything like that.
Justin,
you know,
it's
what else do we need?
$150 for a Scarlett Focusrite Pro. Josh Hatmaker needs one, so we can do some cool drops. And
Let me pull on your dick a little while.
I will.
That's how we'll get the sponsorship.
What?
We have not had any of the Koreans yet on the podcast.
That's true.
It is very needed. So I've talked to Josh Lee, and I've got him at least connected so that he knows it exists. But Josh Lee, for some reason, he is like top of my list. Somebody I'd love to hear on this podcast now.
yeah, he's probably got some cool stuff to say.
Oh,
Well,
we
like-
need Nate Campin too.
We need Nate. I mean, there's so many
Yeah.
people, guys. If you have not come on yet, like, there's such a demand. Like, everybody wants to hear everybody's podcast. At the end of the day, listen, Tom Rizzo came on here and flat out admitted that he hates podcasts, and he's on here spending 3 hours on here because it's something that like he. I mean, Tom, you could put it probably in better words, but like you're invested in it because it's you're hearing stories, you're being reminded of things that are close to your heart, that are important to you. So like all I can say to the anybody who's not been on is like, you might think that you don't have enough to say, or you might think, what am I going to say? But I guarantee you're going to spark memories in your own mind, and you're going to spark memories in other people's mind.
Yeah.
And it's going to continue this growth, this rebirth of 24 Down, this re-energization, whatever. Somebody fill in the word because I've had too many little baths. But you know what I'm saying? Like, come on the episode.
It's the excitement. It's the excitement. It's the, I think, like, so like the start of this episode, like me becoming an admin, like you were talking about we were texting, you talked about doing Mike and Raquel's episode, and I was like, dude, I would love to be a part of that. Like, I want to, like, and just the energy. And my wife even like said it tonight. She was like, I was like, hey, I'm going to do this podcast again tonight. And she was like, this must just be like, you guys like instantly like hit it off. Like, as if it was like, I graduated 2009, like June 2009. Like, this must be like July 2009. I was like, it is. Like, it's just, the energy's there. And I mean, I know we were texting, like, I was even asking like the other day, like, hey, does anyone remember Nate Campbell? Like, he was a freshman my senior year, but like, he just like, there's like these individuals that like we remember, and to each of us, it's unique. And I just think like,
It doesn't
we all want to hear each other's stories, man.
Yeah, and it doesn't need to be like, I feel like it doesn't need to be this deep. Like, we don't need to do it for, like, we're doing it for whatever 3 hours because we're just like bullshitting and like laughing and stuff. And like, there's obviously a lot of questions, but like, if someone comes on for a half an hour, 40 minutes, okay, like, just like catch up, like whatever, just say what you need to. It doesn't need to be more than that.
We're not going to let them.
Yeah.
You might want to only be on for half an hour, but like,
Yeah.
24 Down Family, like, clearly is not going to let that happen. Like,
Yeah.
there are so many in our group, and we're so diverse. There's so many people that just want to know your story, and I've kind of shared with some people, like, it excites me to hear just where people have gone since college. Like, that in itself is such a unique thing to hear.
We definitely got to holler at the Koreans, though. There's a lot of whites on this right now. We gotta balance the scale a little bit. Yeah.
It's true.
Well,
I'm like 1/8 native, so
yeah, hey,
We got
that
it.
counts, right?
We got it.
I'm part Canadian. Does that count at all?
Are you?
Yeah. Just very small. I'm actually more native than Canadian, so Andrew and I have that in common too. That we have
Nice.
that like native.
Try
Sorry,
it.
I'm all white.
I'm
My bad.
Cherokee. I don't know. What are you, Andrew?
Shawnee.
Oh yeah. My
Nice.
bitter enemy. I don't really know.
Maybe I
To
don't
be
even
honest.
know. But
Yeah, I mean, I think I must be some Canadian because my great or grandmother came from Canada.
Did you ask what Canadian I was? Because I assumed you asked what tribe because I was like, oh, I'm part native too.
No, I didn't. But what I'm
Uh,
guessing. Wait, let me guess. You don't look French, so you're not in Montreal.
Torontoian.
Toronto, yeah. No,
Is that a thing?
actually,
Do
surprisingly,
people
it is
ask like,
French.
what kind of
It is.
American are you? Like,
Well, there's French Canadians and
oh,
there
that's
is.
true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Dude,
I know Rizzo's Canadian because he's so nice and giving. And,
That's the Holy Spirit. I don't spit it.
So I kind of want to be involved with future podcasts, not even just be on the Zoom call or say anything. But
We
just,
need that soundboard.
yeah, I'm gonna add this, continue adding to the soundboard. So
That's all we need.
I think
Yeah,
if you just don't have a mic and just have the soundboard that you
yes,
just did it, yeah.
I'm definitely gonna be involved in that. Yeah.
Hey,
Fair.
like I've told multiple people before, like this is not my podcast. This is the 24 Down podcast. If people want to get involved in any way, I'm 100% all about it. So like, like Tom, I know you're saying that like half joking, but like half also like, yeah. And guess
being
what?
for real.
The invite is always on the table for you,
Sweet.
100%. So.
Sweet.
What is that? Now it's on my face.
Video's
Well,
good.
before we take off here, I'm gonna do my plugs that I always do each week. But before I do that too, I don't know why. For those of you watching on YouTube, I guess maybe this will be a little treat for you. I think I realized this tonight. I've always wanted to do something like this, so make me feel like a late night talk show host. So, guys, thanks again, Tom, for coming on. Check out 25 Metro, new album coming out. We'll see you next week. Was that good?
Pretty good. That was pretty good.
I give my approval.
Yeah. I literally legit have a still sealed 25 Metro. I have 3 copies of this album,
Wow.
and this one is still sealed. So we'll see if I ever open it.
If anyone's interested, I found a box, not a huge box, but a handful of them, and I will definitely send them to people who would want to listen to them.
I mean, I may or may not
yeah.
want to purchase another one or two just because you never have enough.
Yeah.
I think I still have a copy also.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm proud of that work. Like it was one of like the few things where I'm like, all right, we like really took time to make that. So it's sweet that you're still holding on to that.
I'm still waiting for it to show up on Spotify because I mean I don't have a CD player in my car because
There's some stuff out there.
There's a YouTube link for sure.
There's a YouTube link, and I'm on a couple verses on my friends' albums on Spotify. But
well, come on, share that stuff with us.
Yeah. So I don't think like I don't know if I was telling Wolfie about it or if I was telling you about it. Yeah, I was like, I don't think we can get on Spotify because we would have to go through a label and then have our samples cleared. And
yeah, because you guys samples. Yeah. I get it.
They're gonna hate on us.
I get it.
Yeah.
Well, my weekly plugs here. If you got Twitter and you want to follow, like if you're one of those weird people that doesn't have Facebook, sorry, Tom, and if you only have Twitter, you can follow us on Twitter at 24 Down Podcast. For whatever reason, if you want to email us, 24downpodcast@gmail.com. You can go to storefrontier.com/24down to buy one of these 24 Down Podcast shirts or just the 24 Down logo shirts. You could also win one of those if you correctly guessed the size of Tom's nipples. And then our Facebook pages, for those of you that do have Facebook page or Facebook, we've got the 24 Down Podcast page, which is a public one. Like it, subscribe, whatever, comment, all that great stuff. And then there's a private group page as well. So if you can't find it, find somebody in 24 Down, keep reaching out to people. Eventually you'll find somebody that's in it. We'll invite you in. A lot of good stuff goes on there. Our YouTube page as well. We have a good chunk of the podcast up on YouTube as well. And like I said, 25 Metro, check them out. And yeah, so that's my plugs. Wolfie, I'll let you and Andrew as well. I'll let you guys say your piece, and then Tom, you can close this out.
I just want to say again, it was awesome to be able to be on here, be able to talk with you. You and your family are awesome. I really appreciate you taking time to do this, and your soundboard really took it to the next level. So
I wanted it to be a surprise. I told Wolfie about it prior to, but then when me and Hat were doing a test run with my equipment, I like teased it, but I so badly wanted just to drop some stuff out of nowhere.
well, I didn't know about it until we got on here to talk to
Nice.
start. So
Okay, cool.
no, I loved it. But no, hey, you've always been a good friend. I look forward to many more years. I look forward to being able to come up there and visit Buffalo again. And eventually, whenever we can do this 24 down reunion, we'll be able to all get together. And I'm just so excited to be able to see us all acting dumb, and then look over and see all of our wives standing there watching us all act dumb. I'm just so excited for that moment because it's going to be hilarious. But
Full circle.
no, yeah, I love you, brother. Yeah, so thanks again for coming on.
Love you too, man.
Tactical Tom.
I couldn't believe you remembered that, man.
Dude, I have no idea why. Maybe it's just I don't remember. You and Andrew came in at the same time. Sorry, Andrew. I don't remember what your start team name. I don't even know what my own start team name was, but I remember Tactical Tom. But no, man. Like I'm so happy for you. As all the dads can relate, and I think for you, like it clearly stands out that you're just such a great father, and clearly there's a lineage of Thomas Rizzos that were great fathers, and to see your videos and your pictures of you and your son and your family, yeah, I love it. I love it, and you talk about music and your passion there, and I think music brings people together. It's what it does, and that's what 24 Down was, and that's what you brought to 24 Down. And all of us are so there is a reason this episode is going to be this long, because it was all questions, because that's how many people love you and just want to hear your input and your value, because that's what you brought. You are just pure heart, pure love, and big heart, big nips. Sorry.
Thanks, man. No.
You're just you're the dude. You're the
Thanks,
dude,
man.
man. We love you so much.
Thanks, dude. That was nice. Appreciate it.
Tom, you got any last words here to take us out?
Do I have last words?
Yeah. I'm going to let you have the last words, and the only thing I'm going to say is I love you, brother.
I love you too. I love all you guys. I love everybody listening. I love everybody involved with 24. I love what came from it. It's just like it's so weird. I think I was texting you guys in the group chat, like saying like trying to explain it is strange. They're like, because it's not a typical college experience of like yeah, we had a frat, it was this, or like yeah, like we learned this and now we're friggin' stock traders, and like it's so unorthodox, and it's so fitting to all of our personalities. And I'm just glad that this came about, and we're still kicking. And like it's so unfortunate that a pandemic is happening right now, because it's like we would be seeing each other probably next month, like realistically, like that would be the ideal time for it. And I don't know, man, I'm glad that we can keep the flame burning. And obviously I'll echo what people have said on previous ones, is just if you have a free night to get on it, just get on it. This is no pressure. There's no pressure. Like I know we're like recording and doing all this stuff, but I wanted this episode to be a example of like, you don't have to put on some show or try and like fill time and like think, oh, people aren't going to find me interesting and stuff like that. Like, we all have our own stories to tell. We all have our own things to say. We all have our own opinions, and it's fluid. It's gonna work out like this every time. And I'm glad we got to hang for mad long. We've been rocking for a minute. I'm trying to break the record. I'm trying to break the record out here. Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Sweet. But I love you guys. Thank you for having me. If Andrew wants to rap, I got a beat loaded up. So if you wanted to, you can do it.
Oh shit.
You sure?
Oh. The only time I could rap even good was when I let Joe take over. So, or The Apprentice. That was the only time.
Well, it sounds like I need to be
Andrew can't rap at all.
co-producer on that episode of the Joe.
There you go. Yeah. There you go.
All right, love you, Tom.
Love you too, dude.
See you, Tom.
See you guys.